You got upset because we couldn't hear you yesterday. Felt like you had to come in.
Yeah, that's right.
Very welcome. We may get into this lesson today, but we really are still going to be focusing on the lead generation that we were covering yesterday. Good morning, everybody online. We can hear you today, so it's all about you guys.
It seems like I'm the only one here.
There you go. Yeah, I guess we got a bunch of black boxes this morning.
I'm here as well. I'm just joining today.
There you go. Glad
Yeah,
that-
we're here. We're here.
Well, I know we're just teasing you guys. We just want to see your pretty faces.
Shout out.
It's not pretty yet.
Fired. That's right.
The volume is working good today. We got a whole new thing up here. Who knows what? I'm just not going to hit anything because all I'm going to do is break it. So, how's everybody doing today? Rock and roll. We're in day 3. You guys tired yet? Still got that enthusiasm? Ruby. Who's been making their contacts, adding people to their database? There you go.
Making contact, but I need to start adding it to the database.
Yeah, same.
Cool. The reason why we want to use database, it allows you to keep those notes. And day 1, when you're walking into this, you may not feel like you have a ton of leads. So you're like, I'm always going to remember. You're going to get to the point pretty quickly. I'm working with an agent who's in his 3rd month, and we're having to make sure he's using his, what we call, it's a pipeline tool. And I'll show you guys that. It's literally this spreadsheet, and it's to just not worry about his lead. These are leads he's working with. And he's got so many that I've been there where I've got 5 or 6 pretty hot leads. And next thing you realize, like, oh, crud, I had to talk to this guy in 3 weeks. I've been dealing with these 3 people. And so the pipeline is just like your database. It's a way to keep these people and keep notes and know where you are with these folks. So you're going to get to the point where you've got so many contacts that I want to pick up the phone. I want to call Aaron and continue our conversation, but I don't even remember what we talked about last time. And so using that database, creating those notes, and I'll tell you, I've been on the other side working with somebody who didn't take those notes. I had a maps coach, and every time I would call him, I would tell him at the time I had another co-coach. Her name was Venus, and I'd be like, well, so Venus is working on this, and I'm working on this. And he'd go, oh, who's Venus? I'm like, well, like the last 6 months, every time we've had this conversation, I've explained to you, she's my co-coach that we hired 6 months ago that you helped me hire, dude. Like, it was clear he just didn't take any notes. So it was like we only had 30 minutes on the phone together for our call. I paid a lot of money for those calls, or about $500 for 30 minutes. And for me to have to spend the first 15 minutes just catching him back up, yeah, about the 4th time that happened, we went ahead and found a new coach. And so it just made me feel like, dude, this dude's not listening to me. He doesn't care. And your clients will feel the same way. But if you take those good notes, create tasks that A, keep you contacting them when you said you would contact them. And B, I can pick right back up on the conversation. I can talk to Kevin about, hey, you told me last time your kids were going off to college, how'd their first semester go? Beautiful. Did they get to stay the whole time? I can pick right back up. And he's like, dude, who cares about me? I'm big on keeping those notes. I put little things like the dog's names. If I go over and meet a client, ask them how Fido's doing. Dog people are weird. If you like my dog, you're good with me. That's the best closing. Little sidebar, the best closing gift I ever give is probably the cheapest one I ever give is I'll go get dog tags made up with the new address. People love that. So if you move into a new house, I know you got a lot of stuff going on. You've turned on the electricity, you turned on the cable, probably haven't gotten a new tag for the dogs. Dogs, when they're in a new environment, sometimes like to run out the backyard. They don't know that neighborhood. They can get lost pretty easily. We want to help keep them safe. And it just shows those little extra touches that, hey, I'm not just in this for a commission. I care about you as a human being. And your database is a way to, while it's using technology, it's really a way to online tool to help me with my offline relationships. So I tell people about Facebook. I know it's extremely toxic, but I'm a big fan of it for business. And really, to me, Facebook is another one of those online tools to help me strengthen offline relationships. Helps me connect with clients of all different backgrounds and ages so that we can find some commonality so when we're out working together. I got stuff to talk to them about. Oh my gosh, so you guys went to Cancun, you guys stayed at the Royale. Oh my God, isn't that an amazing resort? You know, if you go across the street, you can get buffalo wings at the Outback there. It's a really nice resort. Couldn't find buffalo wings anywhere. It was very upsetting to me. You got all you could eat food, but it was like steaks and lobsters and crab. And I'm like, I don't want that crap. I want some buffalo wings, man. Yes, sir.
Just a question, because I don't have my accesses yet. Is there a template for command the way that the data needs to be formatted? So like if you were to do it download.
There is.
Can you send us that template?
Yeah, no, I can show you where to go get it real quick. Let's share our screen. So how are the contacts going? I know you two had said you were contacting people, you as well. How's it going? Anybody bit your head off yet?
No.
People happy to hear from you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I went to the builder that built my house.
okay.
Had a great conversation and he asked for my cards.
We're going to talk about new construction today. New construction is a huge opportunity in a couple different fronts. New construction, obviously, it's one of my favorite deals to do with the buyer because it's kind of like the least hassle of all deals. You don't even write the contract. Most builders will have their own contract. I'm sure yours did. Our contracts, 10 pages. A builder contract's like 85 pages and the font is way smaller. So what do you do with quick kind of scenario? Client asks you to review the contract and give him thoughts. How do you answer that?
Talk to your attorney.
Boom! There's my winner. You got a gift card coming before the day is over. That's, I saw a post on Lab Code Agents and it was a gentleman saying, hey, I've got a client, they want to sell their house. Their significant other got divorced. In the divorce decree, it says that the husband kept custody of the house. The wife's now claiming that she has part ownership. She doesn't want to sell. What do I do? And all these agents kept going, well, you need to go talk to this person, and figure this out. The only correct answer was like the 50th answer. Somebody said, nothing. You need them to call an attorney. Do not practice law. And that is a tough thing to do in this business. I mean, we're working with a legal contract, special provisions inside the contract. And we go over the contracts where you're allowed to write in what you want. I try to avoid using that at all costs because I really don't see a way where that is not practicing law. Writing words on a legally binding contract, that's real close to touching being a lawyer there. So sometimes when I have to get something into special provisions, I'll call over to Lawyer's Title. They're aptly named Lawyer's Title because they have some lawyers. Baron Cook, the owner of that location in the Murphy location, is a licensed attorney. His daughter, Catherine Cook, Jen, her new last name, she is also a licensed attorney. So I've had them help me out with a few things. We also have in-house counsel that we keep on a retainer here at the Market Center. So if I really got to go deep into the law, then I go head down to James Tan's office and get connected with the lawyer here at the Market Center. I don't mind using lawyers if that's what I'm using them for. Otherwise, I try to avoid lawyers. Key tip, if you ever from any party in the contract hear the word lawyer, go to James's office. Buyer, seller, other agent, somebody saying I'm calling my lawyer out of a negative reason, I'm heading down to James's office. Even if I don't think it's me that's done anything, I'm heading down to James's office. One thing I have seen is how real estate lawsuits work is they're going to sue everybody. They don't just sue who's at fault. They'll sue the inspector, they'll sue the appraiser, they'll sue the real estate agent, they'll sue your buyer, knowing that, you know what, half of us will just have to settle out. Lawsuits suck, stay out of it. We've done a very good job at this office. We keep a double D E&O insurance that you're required to. Knock on wood, we've never been sued. Doesn't mean we haven't been sent demand letters, that we haven't had to settle certain things, but we've never allowed it to get to the point where we're actually having an agent on trial or having to meet with the disciplinary board down in Austin. So those are things we want to avoid. So I'm in Command. You're going to come up to the Contacts tab. And instead of adding just a single contact, now you can see what criteria it takes full name, email, phone number, and address. Those are the three main ones. Reason why we want the physical address is there's a really good campaign. It's called a monthly neighborhood snapshot that creates for every one of your candidates that has an address, it will attach them to a neighborhood, their neighborhood. And it will send them a monthly snapshot of what's happening, how many active listings, how many pending, how many sold, what's the average days on market, what's the average price per square foot, what's the average list price to sales price ratio. Really nice automatically generated email that gets sent out every month for every one of my clients with a link. They can go to that link anytime they want to get those updated stats. That's one of the cool features of the KW technology and what they're trying to do to kind of take a little bit of that market share away from Zillow. Zillow allows you to look at things from a zip code. Keller Williams on your app, when you go in and search, has anybody played with their app a little? Let's go in this afternoon, play with it. Search for homes. What I like about it is it allows you to look at it at a neighborhood level. Because a lot of my clients here, they can tell you exactly what neighborhood that they want to live in. My parents, for example, when we moved back in 1995, we lived in Plano in the late 80s. They had always driven through the neighborhood they currently live in. That was kind of always a dream of theirs, was to own a home in that particular neighborhood. So they weren't necessarily searching for Plano. They weren't searching for 75025. No, they were searching in Whiffletree specifically. And a lot of my clients are that way. They know exactly where they want to live, and this allows them to search and kind of see it at that level and kind of understand the differences between neighborhoods. So I think it's a really helpful tool. But so this is what you need for a single contact, but what you can do, and I will send you a copy of this since you probably don't have access yet, is, and I'll actually put this in the Google Drive as well, is you download this pre-made CSV file. So those of you that may have a large database already somewhere, this is how you get it all in there. And it's an Excel spreadsheet. And it's broken each column. So I know I need first name, middle name, last name, and then all the rest of the stuff is stuff you can have, but that you don't necessarily have to have. One of the benefits of being in coaching is we give you access to a program called Kohl's Real Estate Directory. So Mike, say you call me and you say, hey, I'm either doing an open house in this neighborhood and I want to circle prospect. In other words, I want to call and invite all the neighbors. Or, hey, I'm deciding I'm going to farm this neighborhood, which we talked about yesterday. And I want to be able to contact all those folks, is let me know the neighborhood, and we run a search through the Kohl's Real Estate Directory that will pull up all the names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers of those folks that are available. And I will send it to you in a CSV file. I don't believe it's perfect in terms of the columns. So what you'll have to do is you just go copy, paste it into the appropriate column. Then you'll save this and you just upload this right into your database. It can automatically tag everybody with the neighborhood. That way I can go into designs, I can create a postcard, attach that tag group, so Deerfield, attach it, and then boom, send it right out from the system. So I don't have to physically actually touch anything. It can all be done through the computer. So I will post a copy of this in the Google Drive, and I'll specifically send you one this afternoon, Mike. Anybody else that needs one, just let me know. Has everybody been able to access the Google Drive? Cool. The last thing we'll be adding by the end of today, I will send you a link to track your daily 10-4. We want to start getting in the habit of tracking our business, knowing our numbers. This is a fairly simple tracking. It's literally going to be a Google form. It's going to ask you the number of contacts you've made or conversations you've had, number of people you added each day to your database, number of handwritten notes, and number of homes previewed. The homes previewed is on a weekly. We'd like you to see 10 homes. All the other 3, we'd love you to do 10 a day. The handwritten note is huge. Anybody starting those? Cool. So on our break, I'm going to go grab my handwritten note cards. I'm going to put those out, and hopefully you guys can pick up a stack or two and start writing those notes. It's a huge way to make a lasting impression. When I have these conversations, I always like to set up my next touch. So if I call Mike today, we go through the Ford, ask him how the family's doing. You guys have a good holiday? You guys getting to go on any big vacations this year? You know, your son's a big baseball player. You guys getting out to the park much? Whatever the conversation goes like, then I'll leave it with, hey, Mike, want to keep an eye on your mailbox. You'll have a little something from me here in the next couple of days. And that's where I write the little thank you note. Hey, Mike, it's really awesome to catch up with you. Man, I hope 2021 is everything you and your family are looking for this year. I'll check in with you here in a couple of weeks. So I'm always kind of setting up my next touch so that when I call Mike in a couple of weeks, he kind of knew it was coming. And that helps me with a little bit of accountability. I've told him I'm going to call him in a couple of weeks, so I know I need to do that. I do that with kind of all my clients. That's my goal. If I meet you at an open house, I let you know I'm going to reach back out to you. I'm not disguising it. Hey, so thanks so much for coming to the open house. It sounds like I've got a really good idea of what you're looking for in a home. What I'd love to do is get you set up on a home search through our MLS so that you're getting the most accurate data. And then what I'll do is I'll give you a call maybe tomorrow afternoon just to make sure I'm getting you the right homes that you're looking for. Does that sound like a deal? Beautiful. Now, do you think there's a better chance she's going to take my call now? Absolutely. She's not going to be shocked when I call her. I'm doing what I said I was going to do. I'm proactive. I want these people to know I'm here to help you. Tell me, back off, I'm going. You know, one of the big teams here in Keller Williams, Ben Kenny, is an agent out of Bellingham, Washington. To give you the kind of idea of what aggressive can look like in this business. This isn't necessarily the way I like to do business, but this is how aggressive he and his team are. If you sign up at his website this morning at 9:22, by noon, you will have had 3 phone calls, 1 text, 1 email. By the end of the day, you will have gotten 2 texts, 2 emails, 5 phone calls. Now, that ain't everybody's cup of tea. I'll tell you, when I was up in Seattle, I talked to a lot of folks that had dealt with Ben, and they didn't love that. A lot of people have some negative opinions. I also know Ben Kinney gave away over $1 million last year. Gave away on top of what he made. So while it may not be everybody's cup of tea, boy, it's enough people's cup of tea that he's able to build a fairly successful business. He bought out the Active Rain blog site from Realtor.com. He's in the last 2 years bought 30 different companies. He created Brivity, the CRM. So while it ain't my cup of tea, boy, it sure seems to work for him. And that's your competition, can be that aggressive. So anything under that, you're not even the most aggressive agent. So, and you know, I gave you guys a script yesterday. Every now and then I'll have a client say, you know, you're a little bit aggressive. I'm like, certainly, and I understand that. However, I want to make sure I get you results. Now, if you'd like, I could certainly recommend you to one of my lazy agents at work. And I've never had anybody like, you know what, we would love a lazy agent who doesn't do much for us. You know, I go out and I door knock. I was talking to a client yesterday who's got a buyer. They really know where they want to live. There's just no available inventory. Awesome. Hit the pavement, man. Knock on them doors. Let them know I got a buyer. Anybody gives you crap, who would you rather have? An agent that just sits here and waits for the MLS to pop up a listing and hopefully we can get in and see it? Or an agent that's going out and proactively trying to find you a home? In this competitive market, where once the home hits the market, we may have 20, 25, 30, 50 offers. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to find a home not on the market, bring my buyer in, have a private showing, write up an offer, and never have to like compete against 25 people? It's what the good agents are out there doing. So keep that stuff in mind. So yeah, this is where you can go to kind of keep a template while you're waiting to get access to the database. And that way, once you get access, you'll just upload this and boom, boom, you're done. So who else is having conversations? How they going?
All right. People I haven't talked to in a bit, just call and say hello.
There you go. So yours is more the strengthening and growing the relationship right now.
That's it.
And even the ones where I intend to not talk about real estate, inevitably, you know, when I ask people how their lives are going, what are they up to? What are they doing? What happens most of the time? They turn around and ask you the same questions. They kind of mirror the questions you ask. So if I'm asking, you know, how's the job going? Well, they're going to ask you, well, crazy news. So the last time we talked, I was doing X. Guess what? Over the pandemic, life got a little different. I went and got my real estate license. It's something I had always wanted to do. And I finally got the opportunity when life kind of hit pause for a few months. I went out and got a real estate license. I'm super excited and, would love to help you or more importantly, or just as importantly, your friends, your family, and your coworkers. And so it's just having those conversations. Those of you who aren't having those conversations, why not? You're ready to rock and roll. You got your life. Those of you that are licensed, that's the biggest thing I want to impress upon you is you've got amazing support behind you. Aside of myself, you've got our awesome coach, Laura, you've got Julia. Every person on this leadership is here to help you get your deals to the closing table. Every one of the agents here has buy-in. You want to know that profit share thing we talked about? That's why they have buy-in. You guys being successful makes this office more profitable. When the office is more profitable, that's more profit share they share. The office isn't profitable, so if you sponsor an agent at Market Center that isn't profitable, there is no profit share. That profit share gets used to pay off bills. They will not cut a profit share check if they are in debt. It has to be from a profitable office. Now, the good thing is 98% of all Keller Williams offices are profitable within their first 12 months of operation. Very rare that we have a non-profitable Market Center. I happened to get to work at one of those. It was not fun. Out in Newport Beach, our rent every month was $80,000. For you as an agent to come to that office, it was $20 to park for 1 hour. The whole day was $60. Yeah, it was real fun trying to get people into class, and we didn't do Zoom. So a lot of days I was just sitting talking to myself because nobody could afford to even come park at our office. So I'm glad to be back at a very profitable Market Center where we will share this year over $350,000 back in profit share. That's pretty cool. Get your unfair share. So groovy. So today we're just going to pick right back up where we left off yesterday, kind of talking about some of these lead generation methods. And just trickling in your mind. Just want you to start thinking, we discussed yesterday how, and I heard it in that video, I think it was Nikki Farrell, the agent from our Market Center, our ex-rookie of the year, who said, it's not that she sees agents that don't do anything. I've very rarely see an agent that comes in this business and just refuses to do anything. It's that we see agents that try to do a little bit of everything without ever really giving it the opportunity to succeed. A farm, I ask my agents that want to farm for a 12-month commitment, minimum 6 months, because I just know the odds are that the first postcard you send out is not going to immediately get you results. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. We use Leverage Plus, the marketing service, and I'm going to bring in Christine here in the next couple of days to tell you a little bit more about Leverage Plus, but they can help create postcards for you, listing consultation, buyer consultation. They can help you get photos taken for your listing. They just did a virtual tour for one of my listings, a 360 Matterport tour with a virtual floor plan. Amazing, like blown away by how good it is. Maybe on the break, I'll load it up and show you guys. But so Leverage Plus created a postcard for us to send out to a neighborhood that we're just now starting to farm. We picked up 2 listings off of 2 postcards. So it can happen quickly, but the expectation should be it's going to take 6, 12, maybe 18 months to really start to get traction inside of a neighborhood. So don't, just because you don't get immediate results with something, assume that it's not working. One of the things, you're going to get better every time. Every open house you host, you will get more confident. You will be more comfortable. You will know your scripts better. Every time you pick up the phone, if you do internet leads, first time you call an internet lead, you may not know what the heck you're saying. You've read the script, you've gone to script practice, but oh my God, there's a live client on the other end. Some of us may freeze up a little. You'll get better. And that's what we're looking for is I just want opportunities to get at bats, to work on my swing, see more pitches. Everything I do, I turn into a sports analogy. And in sports, I turn everything into a real estate analogy. So kind of tell you how my brain works. So yesterday, we talked about for sale by owners, expired listings, just sold homes and just listed homes, more of the postcards that you would send out, past clients. It's a huge one. Obviously, day one, we don't have any past clients. Once you do, those become that top 20% of your database, most of your past clients, your first couple of years are gonna automatically by default get put in there. Now, the goal is to get you so many past clients that then we have to kind of figure out which ones we really love and which ones we only kind of love. But right now, we're gonna really love everybody, right? Jerry Maguire, this thing. Anybody watch Jerry Maguire? Well, if you remember the movies, I guess pretty old these days. Jerry worked for a big firm that they had 1 million people and they had 1 million clients. And he had one client he really wanted to work for. And so he started his own firm. And like he told the guy to get his business is, hey man, you can go with the big boys where you're just another number on a file. Or you can go with me where you're my only client and you will get 24/7 personalized service. Right now, that's what you can kind of offer. Say, hey, I got you. Now on the counterbalance, if I'm on a team, I'll be like, you work with So, you're only going to get, one person. With me, you're going to have a showing assistant, a negotiation specialist. We have specialists for everything. So it speaks to different people. So you can argue either side of that coin. Right now, the side of the coin most of us are on is, man, I'm the solo agent doing it on my own. You're going to get me, and you're going to get me and all my efforts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I wouldn't say 24/7. Don't let your clients call you at midnight. That's a lesson to be learned. Client texts you at 10:30. You text them back. You've now given them permission to call you at 10:30. And they'll take some leeway. And next thing you're getting texts at 1 a.m. It's like, I don't mind if my clients text me that late. That's fine. My phone's on silent. It's not going to bother me, but I ain't responding. I will respond to you guys because I understand what real estate's like. And if you're calling me at midnight, well, I may think it's not the most important thing in the world you're asking about. Clearly, you felt it was important enough to call. You're going to get my response. My clients, there's very rarely do I see that I have to answer something at 10:30 at night. They can't wait till the next morning. And so I kind of have that expectation and set it with my clients that I'm not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can get me up till 8. I'll work till 8, even 9 with you, but I need some personal time. So Allied Resources, those are those people you're already out there doing business with. Like I said, you're going to have a lot of folks that are going to want to take you out to lunch, title companies, lenders, inspectors, all want to do business with you because they work just like us off of referrals. Great, let's make it a symbiotic relationship. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It's a little thing that would ride back on the back of the whales. We always had to learn about in science that would eat all the food off the back of the whale. So it was a symbiote. They helped each other out. So that's what we're looking for with my Allied Resources. And then yesterday we ended on geographic farm area and talking about selecting the right neighborhood, creating a campaign for at least 12 months, typically either postcards, door knock. We've got a whole plan in place for the agents and coaching that want to farm. Help you literally come up with what items you're going to pass out. Do you want to host an event within the community? So I know some agents, I got a really good buddy over at the Plano office. He, for the last 20 plus years, has hosted an annual garage sale within his neighborhood where he just coordinates it. And every year they have about 25 to 30 homes that participate in the garage sale. He grills out hamburgers and hot dogs on the day of, rides around on his bike and drops them off for everybody, keeps everybody fed. But what does he get to do because he's the head of that? We get to know every single one of the neighbors. He's coordinating it, so it's keeping him involved in that community. We were big on the charity aspect, picking out a local charity once a quarter to go do a drive for. The school was always one of my favorite ones because A, I grew up, my mom was a teacher when I grew up, so I've got a soft spot for teachers, pretty cool profession. And B, I know kind of what the cost involved is and that they don't get paid a ton and that they spend a lot of their own money. So to be able to help them out, but that elementary school is typically attached to that neighborhood. And so you get that community buy-in. It's letting people know not only do I want to do business in our community, I want to be a positive impact in the community. My brother, his whole business was built off of charity. So he got and worked with 5 different charities in the San Diego area. And at the time of closing, he would donate, depending on your price point, $500 or $1,000 of his commission towards one of those 5 charities. Every one of his clients would be able to select that and pick it, and the donation was made in their name. And then he also worked with those charities so that anybody that was referred from that charity, he would give 25% back to the charity. Well, his biggest deal came from a young lady who started an organization that taught surfing to special needs young adults. Well, her parents wanted to build their own dream home out in La Jolla, California. They built an $8 million home. He was able to pick that up, get the commission on it, ended up making, I was close to a 6-figure donation because his commission was that nice. And so not only did he get the biggest payday he has ever gotten, he was able to significantly help that organization. And what in return for that, what he asked those organizations was the ability to get their email list and to have them help promote it. And so they would share his story out on Facebook. His whole website was built around that. And so it was a really cool way for him to be able to be involved in those charities while at the same time getting business from it. That's a win-win kind of situation right there. And that to me is that's that outside the box thinking of how could I take charities and tie that into my business? And he built a pretty cool plan doing that. So now we hop over to apartments. Anybody living in an apartment? So I've had agents that have marketed within their apartment. You might get in a little trouble for that. My agents in my last Ignite, even after I gave that speech, she went out and passed out flyers in her neighborhood. Sure enough, the next day management was calling. They tend to not necessarily love you promoting, hey, I can help you buy a house to a bunch of people that are paying them for rent. It's possible. You can always talk to them and see if they would allow it. What I've found with apartments is if you can develop a good relationship, what do people have to do when they want to move out of an apartment? They have to give a 60+ day notice. Well, typically they tell the apartment leasing folks why they're moving. They're going to say, hey, Aaron, we love living here, but actually we're really excited. We're going to buy our first house, so we're going to be turning in our 60-day notice. Now, if I've got a great relationship with Erin as the leasing head of her apartment, hopefully I'll build up the point where she says, well, do you have a great agent that you're working with? No, not really. We're just getting our home started. Oh my gosh. Well, actually, I've got an awesome agent you need to call. His name's Kevin. He's a great dude. He helps a lot of our clients find their first home. And so developing that relationship with the apartment complex, because people that move out of there typically are looking for a home, it's a great opportunity. How can I help them? Anytime I have clients looking for a place to lease, I certainly will keep you guys in mind and recommend you. Do you do any short-term rentals? If I can find an apartment complex that does short-term rentals, I can give them quite a bit of business, because it's not uncommon that I have a seller that sells their house while they're maybe building a house, and we got a 6-month gap here, and we need to find a place to live. That's something, even if I don't want to work with apartments, it never hurts to have 1 or 2 in the back of your mind that you know will do a short-term rental to be able to help folks out. It's tough to rent like a rental house for like 3 to 4 months, where there are apartment complexes that will allow you to rent a unit for that time, especially some of the corporate locations. So apartments can be a huge opportunity. I know one agent who did work with her apartment complex to get permission to market to the folks. She ended up doing first-time homebuyer seminars once a quarter inside the apartment complex. They let her use the clubhouse, helped her get everything set up. So it was a really cool relationship she had built. And it took, having a good, positive relationship with the people down in the leasing office. Speaking of first-time homebuyer seminar, I meant to tell you guys this yesterday. The group coaching is every Wednesday at 2:00 for the launch group. I would love you guys, if you have availability today at 2:00, we're starting for the new year. Today's topic will be first-time home buyer seminar. How to host them, what to say, what materials do you need. You will walk out of there today at 2 with a PowerPoint presentation ready to go and some other resources. So if you've got time, join us either on Zoom at the same website, centrallaunch.com at 2:00 today, or we'll be here in the office. And that's every Wednesday. So I'd love you guys to come check it out and learn a little bit more about coaching. Number 9, corporations.
I have a question about apartments.
Yeah.
Besides just selling, do you also help people get like 12 months lease or something?
Yeah, so leasing, and we'll kind of get into leasing here. So leasing is I'm so 50-50 how I feel about it. As my dad will famously say sometimes, leasing can be the quickest way out of this business. Because you feel like you're working, right? But leases are not easy. Now, apartments are different. Apartments will pay you typically, if they pay, some don't pay at all. Most that do pay typically about 100% month's rent. So I know we had an agent that just did a lease down in downtown Dallas where it's pretty expensive, $2,000 a month. So I get a check for $2,000. That's well worth it. The issue is rental houses. They don't pay crap. Used to be standard that on a lease, you got 50% of 1 month's rent on a rental house. So on a $1,500 listing, I would get $750. You're still gonna pay company dollar on that. You lose a little bit of that unless you're a capped agent. So you're ultimately, and that was when they were 50%. These days, I'm amazed when I see one at 50%. They almost all seem to be at 20 to 30%. On a $1,500 lease, I'm getting 30%. I'm literally making $450 before I pay Keller Williams. And the issue with a lease is you end up doing a lot more work than with a buyer. With a buyer, when it comes to like getting them approved, I send them over to Donna over at Highlands. And she gets them all their employment verification, gets their bank statements, their tax records, calls to verify that employment, follows up, gets any additional documents she needs. Well, guess who does all that in the lease? You do. There's no lender involved. So you're in charge of getting the application filled out from your client, getting the copies of their driver's license, getting their bank statement, send them on over, getting their background check done, getting that filled out. The other issue with leases, and this at first it blew my mind when I would work with lease clients, they were way pickier than my buyers. They kind of had this attitude of, dude, you're a lease. Like, why are you being so damn picky? Well, here's why. With a lease, you can't change anything. If I buy a home and I don't like these paint colors and I don't like this flooring and I don't like that wall there, cool, we'll knock that down, we'll repaint this and we'll redo the floors. With a lease, I don't get to do any of that. So I really do kind of have to be picky because I can't make any changes. So I've got to find a house that meets 90, 95% of my criteria. That becomes a huge issue. My first client, it was a referral from an agent at this market center. I thought he was doing me a huge favor. I was so excited. Give me $1,000 a month lease client. I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. He's giving me experience. I showed him 83 houses. I didn't know that wasn't normal. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to tell him no. So my first client, I was 3 weeks into this business. To the guy's credit, he was quick. It was literally like he was buying a pair of shoes. I've actually seen people take way more time buying a pair of shoes than this guy. He would walk in, literally spend about 30 seconds, and some of them would just be like, no. Tell you how bad it was. He called me the day he was moving in, and he goes, I'm on the street. I just don't know which house it is. We've seen so many, he didn't remember. I had to look it up. And I did all that for literally like a $500 paycheck. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so leases, a lot of you in your first year, you're going to get the opportunity to do some leases. They're not horrible to do your first year to learn, to teach yourself, hey, I don't enjoy this. I'd much rather, I'm going to put in the same amount of work working with a buyer. It didn't take me very long to figure out, you know what, instead of working with a lease client, I'd rather lead generate for 2 hours today. And if I can pick up a decent buyer lead, I can actually get paid. So what I do is, unless it is a client, past client, somebody I know will become a future client, is typically I will either refer them out, or what I do for a lot of even my own friends is I say, here, why don't I set you up on a search? When you come across a home you'd like to see, call me and I will get you in touch with the listing agent. I found one thing pretty quickly. The listing agent would much rather lease it to somebody they brought in than to, so if I have a listing and you bring a client, but I can also bring my own client and they're pretty even, which one would I rather go with? The one where I have to give up a portion of the commission, or the one where I could keep 100% of 1 month's rent? I'd much rather keep that 100% of 1 month's rent, because any portion I pay you is that coming out of what I would otherwise keep. So for personal reasons, and we should never make a decision like that, but who thinks people don't do that? Happens. I've turned in applications where I know we were the first one in, and then magically that agent 3 days later finds a client, and all of a sudden my clients weren't approved for the lease. So I tend to, unless it is somebody that I know that is past client that I've worked with, or someone that I'm pretty confident will be working with in the future, or the lease price is maybe high enough, I tend to either refer them out or to just turn them over to the listing agent. Personal theory. It is a good way to get out and practice. You know, it's a good way to get used to going out, showing homes, making appointments online, using DocuSign to send documents over. So it's not a horrible way to improve those skills. Just be careful of that trap of feeling like I'm really working hard. And I'm not saying you're not. If anything, you're probably working harder than your competitors that are doing just buyers. However, the money at the end of the day is going to leave you going, oh. So that's something to keep in mind with leases. It's a double-edged sword there. So corporations. So does anybody ever see stuff out on that countertop out there? Yesterday, there were some like Fig Newton kind of bars out there with a business card stapled on it. You guys probably haven't been to a ton of classes, and obviously with the pandemic, it's a little bit differently. But we used to every Monday have a class at 12 o'clock. We would get lunch provided by a sponsor, and then 12:30 we would start the class. What's that sponsor doing? Lead generating. Yeah, I know very few agents that do. I've talked to, I don't know who our tenants are currently. We used to have the Nielsen company, the company that did TV ratings, used to be in this office. We had a law firm above us, and there was one other kind of insurance company. And I remember I was teaching Ignite, and we were going over this, and I kind of got an idea. And so at the end of the class, I went upstairs and talked to him and asked, you know, in your 2+ years of being in this office, hey, do you know what we do downstairs? Most of them didn't even know what we did. They go, have you ever had an agent come up and introduce themselves? Nope. People sit upstairs above us every day. Like pre-pandemic, this parking lot was always full. Like you'd have to park a little bit farther away. There were, you know, a couple hundred people that worked in this building that are there every day. That is a captive audience. And yet nobody ever went and lead generated to them. It's a great opportunity. Corporations and do exactly what our vendors do. You know, what if you just made up brownies once a month and just went upstairs, said, hey, can I spend 10 minutes in your break room before the day gets started? I want to pass out brownies, just introduce myself, get to know people, and pass out my card. The dentist office that you go to. What if you went and dropped off stuff for not just the dentist, but for the hygienist and the admin staff? They all get paid pretty well. They all probably want to live pretty close to the office. So corporations could be huge. What if you reached out to the HR of corporations and said, I would love to host an hour-long class and lunch and learn on investments? Or maybe it was a younger market, younger type office. Maybe you wanted to do the first-time homebuyer seminar and you would sponsor lunch and come in. Hey, just come in, I pick a rate, you pick the date. I'll come in at noon, we'll feed everybody. Anybody, you know, certainly don't have to come. It's up to them. If they like a free lunch, we're just gonna talk to them about buying their first home. It's an opportunity to get in front of 50, 60, 70, 80 people right then and there. Most of us don't even think about it. Yet we watch it happen to us. That's what these people are doing. They're willing to buy us, you know, some of them bring like a whole Chick-fil-A box lunch. We got some of them that work with caterers. The other day we had one that was like 3 different like restaurant quality entrees with a beautiful salad and Cokes and desserts. We were probably talking a couple $100 they spent just so they can have the opportunity to spend 5 minutes giving us a little elevator speech and then hang out in the lobby. It's worth it to them if they can pick up 1 or 2 deals. Same thing. What if that was how you decided you wanted to market? Maybe you come from a corporate background. You know how to speak the corporate lingo. You're in with the cool kids at the corporate level. It'd be a perfect opportunity. Tell you about big corporation opportunities. So you guys know that big building right over there off of George Bush and 75, the State Farm building? That was a pretty big deal when they came here, right? Toyota, another one. I had 2 buddies over at the Dallas Preston Road office, literally within the week of Toyota being announced that they were coming here. Hopped on a plane and flew out to Torrance, California. Went met with the HR there. They ended up becoming preferred real estate professionals for the Toyota move out here. And each of them worked with well over 50 clients moving from California to here. Other agents started running Facebook ads out there. You hear of a corporation moving down here. What do people, I can tell you, we looked at the Google Trends out in Torrance, California. The month that they announced that move, the Google search for Plano, Texas, in that area went up about 5,000%. All these people want to know, do I really have to take a horse to work? Do they all wear cowboy hats and boots? We had a new guy coming in. He was moving down here from Massachusetts. This was last week, and he had his big ass 10-gallon hat on. No, we're not all that. We do have, it's not uncommon to, be at Kroger and see a dude with a cowboy hat, but we don't all wear cowboy hats. This is the closest thing I've ever come to owning a pair of boots. And they're like little mid anklets. So I'm not very Texan, although I do wear my Texas State flag mask. So, but those are opportunities to get in front of huge groups of people. And so that's that, again, going to that thinking outside the box. What relationships do you have? Do you have a buddy that's HR at one of these major corporations that can maybe get you in? Do you know somebody that's in charge of hiring and firing 30, 40, 50, 60 people? You worked in HR, right?
Yeah.
You probably got some HR
I
connections.
do.
Think you might want to be giving them a call? Hey, let me take you out to lunch. Go grab a cup of coffee, catch up. How's 2021 doing? Maybe if you're wanting to know how would I get in with an HR? I might say, hey, Aaron, can I take you to lunch? I'd like to know, what do HR people like? How would I get in front of them? What should I bring? What would I present if I went in there? You might have a good idea. My mom got in with the Mavericks when I was young. She had, one of her first clients was the trainer back in the late 90s for the Mavericks. She ended up getting him to set up a meeting with Mark Cuban. She became one of the 2 agents he referred when he would sign new players. I'm a big North Carolina Tar Heels basketball fan. I'll never forget. It was a grainy photo from one of the original camera phones when Antoine Jameson got traded to Dallas. And my mom randomly texted me while I was living down in Austin, was hanging out with this guy. I don't know who he is. I'm like, that's pretty damn cool. Those guys were typically doing leases, but very high-end leases. And then eventually, if they stayed in the city, they might buy. But so she got quite a bit of business from that, a big corporation. Because not only was she helping the players, a lot of moving parts behind the scenes with the Mavericks organization as well. So there's huge opportunities out there. And that's a way to get in front of not just 1 or 2 people, but to get in front of a lot of people. So really cool stuff there. Builders. You talked about talking to your home builder. Builders, great opportunity to, obviously just bring my clients there. But there's other opportunities within home builders. One of the biggest agents in the country, Ben Caballero, is based out of this area. He lists for probably 70% of the major builders here. He does every one of their listings. Now, there's still 30% of builders that typically are unrepresented, that there's an opportunity. I've got an agent right now where her goal in 2021 is to start working with Grand Homes, a fairly large builder, to list their properties. When we first started, before they got big, we worked with Toll Brothers. So what I did was I had helped a client purchase his Toll Brothers home, had a really good relationship with the sales agent. And so I just kept that relationship up. Anytime I was out in that area, I knew what her favorite Starbucks drink was, and I knew what her assistant's favorite Starbucks was. So anytime I was out in that area, I'd swing through Starbucks, grab 3 drinks, just head on over to their office and just spend 30 minutes kind of in the middle of the week kind of shooting the ass. Now, I don't show up on a Saturday or Sunday. Those are their busy days. Monday tends to be their head to the corporate office and turn in contract days. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday typically were the best days. I found Thursday and Friday were the best because Tuesday and Wednesday tends to be their weekend. Because if you've ever worked with new home construction, they don't get Saturday and Sundays off. When I was up in Washington, it had a builder that wanted me to go to work for them, and that was the deal killer for me. one of the reasons I got onto the training side of things and stepped out of full production was I'd rather work during the weeks and have my weekends for some of the other things I do. As a real estate agent, your weekends are that's the middle of your week. The way I tell people the real estate week works is Friday is my Monday. Saturday and Sunday are my midweek. Monday and Tuesday are kind of my Thursday and Friday. And then I kind of knew Wednesday and Thursday were typically the days I could kind of like, if I wanted to cut out, head down to Austin, go hang out. It typically was like in the middle of the week. Builder reps are going to be the same way. So we had a deal with Toll Brothers where we would input every one of them. So I built that relationship up. Noticed they were not listing their homes on the MLS. And so I created a proposal for 6 different Toll Brothers communities here in North Texas, where I would input each one of their listings, have professional photos and 360 tours done. I would get paid $1,000 on the input and $1,000 when we took them out of the MLS. So it wasn't a full commission. It was $2,000 per listing. Each community, though, typically had about 5 to 10 homes that they would finish building out that they didn't already have a buyer for that they needed listed on the MLS. Each one of those neighborhoods was worth anything between $10,000 to $20,000 a year for me. Here was the other kicker. So they weren't, if a buyer came in unrepresented, they didn't put my name down. They weren't giving me a commission on that. But what they did do was a lot of the buyers they worked with have to sell their home before they can go under contract on a Toll Brothers home. I was one of the 2 agents they would recommend. Got a lot of really good listings that way. By just having that relationship, there's something you have that home builders don't. Anybody got a guess? You have access to something huge that they don't. What's that?
MLS.
Yes, sir. They cannot get access to the MLS. They are not allowed to hold a real estate license.
So with that, you negotiate your prices for us?
Yeah, it was a negotiable thing.
Okay.
Okay. I certainly didn't think they should have to pay me 3% when I wasn't ever going to work with any of the buyers. We were literally just getting it into the MLS, getting the photos taken, and then taking them out once they told me that they had sold and what they had sold for. All the, like in the private remarks, it said to call the builder every now and then. I would get calls for them. If it was for them, I turned it over to Toll Brothers. Sometimes those buyers didn't work out with Toll Brothers and they would come back to me. Here's the other cool thing is anytime I would go on a luxury listing appointment, dude, I can show you my portfolio. I'm currently right now, I have over $5 million listings. It made our portfolio look really nice. It helped us break in a little bit more on the luxury side because we were listing all these Toll Brothers homes. It looked like we listed a ton of $1 million homes. Just so happened most of them came from the same builders. So it really helped my stats, while at the same time giving me an opportunity to work with potential new listings, pick up a few sign calls off of it, and have these great relationships. So I would stop by pretty much once a month with those Starbucks drinks, and I would also run the MLS stats of what's happening with the pre-owned home sales right around them, so that they had a good idea. Well, a couple of those reps got to the point where they knew I had MLS access. They would call me up at the beginning or the end of each quarter because they had to go in for their quarterly reviews, and I would run every stat they needed. That took a hour or 2 hours, totally worth it, to be able to get that kind of business from them. Unfortunately, about 8 years ago, their corporate decided they were going to move in a different direction, and they wanted one single person to list and work with all their homes across the country. And so they went a different direction. That was a sad day for me. It was a really nice piece of business that we had. And we just didn't at the time have the resources available to be able to take care of them at a national level. I sure wish we had pivoted quicker and could have been their national listing agent. But yeah, Ben Caballero, that is all he does. You'll see his name if you start doing home searches, you'll come across that dude. I mean, last year alone, I think he listed like 5,000 homes. Yeah, I mean, he blows everybody's numbers out of the water because of that. So then he's now added a luxury in business because those numbers allow him to go attract other luxury clients. It's a huge opportunity with home builders. And just knowing new construction in this market right now, what a nice tool to have in your back pocket. I had more than once had the buyers that had no intention of new construction. We go out, we look at homes, and every time I call and say, hey, my buyers really love your listing. Wanted to see, are you working any other offers? Yeah, I've got 13 offers already. Now, some buyers, when they hear that, they wouldn't even write an offer. They don't, it's just, they're like, I don't want to even do that. At one in specific I can think of, we lost like 4 in a row. And boy, it was heartbreaking every time. Literally to the point, the 4th time I called and told them we didn't get our offer accepted, I said, and I am more than happy to send you over a termination of our agreement. I feel like I've given you 100%. We've written amazing offers. We just keep getting beat out by cash. But if you feel like for whatever reason, maybe I'm not getting it done, you are more than welcome to, I get it at this point. This has been 4 offers. I don't blame you if you decide to fire me. They didn't. And then what I did is I said, I know we were really hoping to stay in McKinney, but I happen to know if we can get just a little bit farther north up in McKinney, more towards the 360 area or 380, that there's some new home construction. Why don't we just spend a Saturday and going out there? Went out there, they fell in love with the home. Nice thing about new construction is you're not going to compete in offers. That builder rep is working with you at that time. If you go under contract, it's not going to get run up against 15 other offers. Now you're going to get the script when you go out to a new builder that, hey, if you sign the contract now, it's yours. However, if you go home and think about it tonight, there's a chance that another buyer is going to come in at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and they're going to swoop this thing up. And I've been told that script for 10 years. Well, in the last couple of years, it started to happen. Like literally, I had a buyer, went home, thought about it, called the next day. Somebody actually came in and bought that lot and they're putting the floor plan you wanted on it. So we only have 2 other lots available and you can't do the floor plan that you wanted on those 2 lots. I was heartbroken for them. So I prepare my buyers. So if you're working with buyers on new construction, the way I like to do it, make sure all your buyers understand the first time you meet with them that I can absolutely help represent you in new construction. A lot of buyers have a misconception that we cannot. They need to understand that the sales rep works for the builder and it only has the builder's best interest and profit in mind. They don't pay the commission. The commission comes out of the builder's side, really comes out of their marketing budget, so it's not a cost to them. Right now, there's not a ton of negotiating room, but I can sometimes negotiate and get them a better deal, but also help protect them and walk them through the transaction. A builder's going to tell them you don't need an inspection. That's insane. I'll never forget, we were doing a new home construction inspection on one of my clients' houses. It was one of the cleanest inspections. I mean, when the inspector came in, he goes, I got bad news. I was like, uh-oh, because I can't find anything. This is a very well-built house. So we're leaving the inspection. He goes into the garage and he hits the garage door to close it. And he's walking and he stops. And he goes back and I see him kind of start touching the garage door. And I'm like, uh-oh. And he pulls out his little belt and he pulls out his moisture meter, stabs it right in the wall. I kind of see him make a face, stabs it up, makes another face, stabs it below. He goes, I can't necessarily tell you what's happening. We got water leaking through this wall. And one of the pipes had a crack in it. A brand new house, everything else was clean. The pipe had a crack in it. It was leaking underneath the subfloor. They had to rip out all the flooring in the home. Now, could you imagine? That would not have been discovered for about 2 to 3 months until my clients had moved in, all their furniture was in, and all of a sudden the brand new hardwood floors started buckling. We were able to catch that beforehand. So I have all my new construction folks do an inspection. I have them get an inspection then, and I highly recommend when they have that warranty of a 1-year bumper to bumper warranty, that at about the 11-month, 2-week mark, they go ahead and get a second inspection, because then you can just take that inspection and hand it to the builder and go, that's what I need fixed. Because I mean, stuff's going to break within year 1. You've recently built a home, you know the best builders. Stuff will go wrong in the first year. Settling will happen, cracks will appear. Instead of you having to walk around and try to figure it all out and keep a giant master lift, have that inspector come in with about 2 weeks to go and then call the builder and say, boom, I got you. Here's what we need done. Makes it nice and easy. So if I'm working with a buyer on new construction, I like to go out before them. So if you and I were going to go out and look at new construction on Thursday and we knew which neighborhoods, I would try to get out there today to introduce myself to the sales rep, register you as a client. What registering is, typically it's about a half-page form they have you fill out and attach with your business card that basically ties me to you. So that even if you came in without me, maybe that afternoon, they would know you're working with me. So that I'm going to be on that contract and get that commission. And then that way I can build a rapport with the sales rep and go ahead and talk about your needs so that when you come in with me tomorrow, A, feels like I know that rep. I'm like, hey, John, how you doing? Or hey, Susie, how you doing? Good to see you again. My client's like, I don't know these people. I just met them yesterday. Then I go, hey, this is so I was telling you about yesterday. Super, super awesome. Let's see what we can do to help her out. He's gonna go, well, so Hunter was telling me that you're really looking for a ranch style, 1-story, 3 bedrooms, really would like a 2.5 bath, and you'd love to have some sort of either game room or media room. So what I've done is I've pulled out our 3 floor plans that I think may work best for you. So my client now is seeing that I'm actually proactive going out there. I've found out what floor plans will work. I've already prepared you for kind of what the prices are gonna look like, what negotiation may be possible. Letting you know, the builder let me know they're either willing to take $25,000 off the price or throw in a pool right now. So that you kind of know heading into it. And I'm gonna tell you, there's not a lot of inventory. So when we head into the builder, understand he's gonna be pushing you pretty hard to sign a contract. It may be the prudent thing. If you really like the home, we may wanna jump on it so that you're prepped and ready to go.
So after you get pretty much off the warranty and everything, it's pretty much gone, right?
Pretty much, some of them will have, different warranties for like the foundation or for systems that may last longer, but most of them, it's a year bumper to bumper, and then a couple of other warranties throughout.
When my girlfriend, she got a townhouse after a year, everything went wrong. Her walls started bubbling, everything was leaking, and then she's like, I'm really happy because it didn't rain for like a year.
Uh-huh.
And when it started raining, everything was,
It's amazing how stuff likes to break down right after the warranty.
yeah. That's
Though I will
like
say,
everybody.
warranty story, just real quick, then having real estate, I drive a Kia. I always heard they had really good warranties. Up in Seattle, 98,000 miles, took it in to get the oil changed. Guess it flushed out, there was some metal shavings in it. Car started going crazy, took it up to Kia, then replaced the engine, didn't ask any questions. Pretty cool. Like I thought they were gonna fight me on it, want to see like the maintenance records and everything. Nope, they called me back 10 minutes later, said, come pick up your rental in 2 weeks, you'll have a new engine. With 2,000 miles to go. Lucky day. So now, I wanted to sell the car. It's a 2014. It's really nice. It's the Optima, fully loaded. It's got all the bells and whistles, but I was kind of ready for something new. But now I got a brand new engine in this son of a bitch. I'm like, and it's paid off. I'm like, might as well keep it for a few more years.
I have a question. Because now there's like 4 units in that townhouse, and all 4 of them have the same problem. So is that the building issue?
More than likely.
Okay.
Could be, foundations in North Texas, that's going to be, there are certain neighborhoods, the one I live in particularly right now, I can guarantee you every home in my neighborhood either has piers or will need them. The soil here, we get that expansive clay soil. The temperatures here, especially in the wintertime where, we'll have days like today where it's like 29 degrees in the morning and then it's going to be 75 by the afternoon. That soil is constantly contracting and expanding, contracting and expanding, and that's where those cracks start to form. Foundations just shift here, so it's not very likely that if it's a foundation issue that's causing a lot of that, if it's obviously it's going to affect all 4 of the attached units.
Yeah.
That's probably the root cause, so it may not be anything to do with the builder. Have seen now a lot of the higher end builders have just started piering them. I've started to see that some of these builders on the high end are just going ahead and putting adjustable piers in the home.
Since it's brand new, the inspector wouldn't find anything wrong with it.
Yeah, foundation's gonna be a tough one to see. Even you're gonna see cracks. There's almost always the corner compression cracks where if you go look at the foundation, right on the corner, you'll see it kind of crack on the gray concrete. That's typical. You'll see some settlement cracks. Where I get concerned is if I can literally stick my finger or a pencil inside the crack. Is it stair-stepping the crack along the mortar, or is it actually going through the brick? Big difference. If it's the mortar and it's a small crack, probably just settling. If it's literally cracking through the brick, you probably got something going on. Here's the thing. That's just for me to think. I do not make an opinion to my client on foundation. I am not a structural engineer. That is well above my pay grade. All I'm going to do is put my foot in my mouth and choke on it. Because I'm either going to say the foundation's fine, oh my God, don't even worry about that crack. And then the inspector's going to be like, yeah, dude, this home needs to be demolished. It's not even like barely standing. Or I'm going to be like, oh my God, the foundation needs to be torn down. And the inspector comes in and he's like, that's settlement. So it's, I try to don't try to diagnose problems. Bring in professionals. Just like don't be a lawyer, don't be an inspector, don't be a contractor, be a sales professional. Builders can be huge. And so we can do a whole class on new construction. We're gonna have some new construction education this year here at the Market Center. Highly recommend coming in and taking it. You can actually do CCAR. We were trying to figure out the name of the designation. It's a 6-class course. I think it's like a new home sales designation. It might be a really big asset for you. So there are lots of designations you can get in real estate. Never get a designation for the initials. No one in the general public knows what the hell any of those ADR, SRE, senior real estate specialists, like they don't know what that is. Now, however, if I planned on a big portion of my business working with senior citizens, then would getting the SRES, Senior Citizen Real Estate Specialist certification do me some good? Absolutely. If I wanted to do new home construction with being a new home buyer specialist, do me some good? Absolutely. Never take it just for the initials. This isn't like being a doctor. You don't get paid more for having more initials behind your name. No one knows what the hell they mean. So do it because you want to learn, not because you think it's going to give you some extra like props or anything. It won't. Banks. Who goes to a bank? What the hell does the rest of y'all do with your money? Are you guys watch people? What the hell's wrong with y'all? I would assume, yeah. Well, I use a bank. I happen to use Bank of America. It was convenient since I've moved across the country quite a bit over the last 4 years. It was nice because they were in every location. They're not my favorite. Well, I'll tell you one thing I notice every time I have to go into the bank. This is rarer these days, but every time you go into a Bank of America, one of the things I will hear them ask every person that comes up is, do you have a mortgage? A lot of people say yes. I said, great. Have you ever thought about refinancing? Rates are extremely low right now. They don't. They'll say, great. Would you be interested in talking to one of our mortgage specialists about getting you approved to purchase a home? And I've seen people literally walk to the back with the bankers, and literally 15 minutes later, they've got a pre-approval letter. They went into the bank just to cash a check. Now they walked out with a pre-approval letter ready to buy a house. Well, guess what they don't have? Boom. So what if you have a good relationship with that bank? You think your card might be the one they handed out. So if you go to a bank, go in and ask to meet with their mortgage specialist. There's more than likely at a fairly decent sized branch, there's probably somebody there that handles the mortgage division. I know at all the big banks there are. And they're typically looking for agents to give business to. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I will make a donation to Keller Williams Care. That's one of the rules at Keller Williams International. If your phone goes off, you make a donation to Keller Williams Cares. Typically it's about $100. What you do not want to have happen is be in a room with a bunch of the biggest producers in the company, because they will vote at the beginning of class how much it will cost. I've heard it going up to $5,000. Yeah, it's $5 here at this office, and typically only leadership plays by those rules, so I will make my donation today. But yeah, don't ever go down to Gary's office down in Austin and let your phone go off. I might just leave the damn thing in the car when I'm down there, because it can get expensive if you're on the wrong room. It's kind of away from some of those egotistical agents. Joe, I'll pay $10,000. I'm like, bro, I have $5 to my name right now. I'm like, no, that is not an option. So be careful with your phone going off. But banks, it's an awesome opportunity to build that relationship and to get those leads. The issue with banks is you'll get varying opinions, but banks can be a little tough on the mortgage side. They tend to not be nearly as responsive. You know, if you get your mortgage through Bank of America, like I like to tell my clients, certainly if you have an existing relationship with your bank, you're absolutely welcome to go with it. However, what I fear happens a lot of times with banks is you're just a number on a file. When you're working with my in-house lender like Donna Hambach, you're a person. She knows your story. She cares about you. There's responsiveness. I know every time I call, I'm going to speak with Donna or her assistant, Erin. Every time I call the Bank of America mortgage department, I could be speaking with some random son of a gun that has to look up the file, doesn't really know what's going on. It's a little less personalization. Their closing times might be a little bit longer. So especially in a competitive market like this, where every little aspect of the contract can matter, having to put a 45-day close may not get the deal done. That's one of the negatives to it, but you know what? I'm willing to try if you're willing to give me 10 plus buyers a year. I'll find them homes that will allow the 45-day close or however long they need. They've gotten better. the big banks have. I've had positive experiences with them, but I've also had the nightmare experiences. Of course, I've had that with little lenders as well. The only ones that really scare me is when they come in like with a rocket mortgage loan. Oh no. Those can be a little tough. Just tough when you're dealing with somebody that you don't get to see face to face. Keller Mortgage, they're based out of Ohio. There is not a face to face person. That's a little bit of a tougher deal because you don't have that personal getting to know them like you do with somebody that's literally in your office. So I recommend to my client that need that white glove personal touch service. Hey, I got an amazing couple lenders that are local. However, a lot of my like more millennial clients, they get scared talking on the phone to human beings. So it works perfectly. You can go on an app. I'm big on the app thing. Like I can't stand my barber shop. It's 2021 and I still have to call to get a damn appointment. Why? Why should I have to talk to a human being? I just need to book the time slot. Like I hate calling. What, you have something open at 6? Well, how about 6:30 tonight? What about 7 tomorrow night? Let me just go online and see which open spots and click and put my name. I don't like having to call and order my takeout food these days. I've become the millennial that I'm like, oh, lazy ass bastards just want to use an app. And I'm like, I don't want to call and talk to a bartender on a Friday night to order my food. They can barely hear you. I know they're going to screw my order up. I don't want to make any changes because I know they don't care. They're in the middle of trying to serve drinks, take care of the people that are sitting in front of them. I've been a bartender. I know how it works. They're just whatever, hamburger, boom. Remember, I wanted a cheese pizza. So I like being able to go online and order. That's for those kind of people. Boom, I got a perfect fit for you. Those people that want that personal face-to-face, I've got an amazing fit for you here. So I like to have a couple different options for people. But banks can be a huge source of business. Third-party companies, I think what they're getting at there, the company, there's the companies you can purchase the data from. The RedX, the MyPlus leads that you can buy expired and FSBO data from. There are big boys like Brivity, Tiger Leads, Boomtown is what you're going to hear. These are companies that have a full CRM. They will sell you the package of the CRM. We build you a website, and then we set up your marketing and advertising for you. Those are internet leads. So we have a coaching program here that provides, Aaron's a part of it. It's a fairly new program. It's called Accelerate, where we provide agents with leads. They're internet leads. Now I'm going to tell you, in 2018, I've told you guys stat, 2018, 200 million leads sold, 5.4 million transactions. So it's a numbers game. It's knowing that same lead is what, the reason why there were 200 million leads is a lot of people will sign up at 10, 12, 15 websites. They don't even realize that they're necessarily set. They don't realize that they're like signing up. They just are clicking, submit my information to get more information on the house on the website. So it's not uncommon when I call an internet lead that they're like, dude, you're like the 8th website I've signed up at. However, you're the first one to call me. And that's mind blowing. 63% of all online leads tend to go unanswered. That's mind blowing. You're gonna spend the money. I had an agent ask me the other day, said, thinking about purchasing internet leads, should I do it? Yes, but not until you have the plan in place for how you're gonna handle those leads. Till I know exactly, am I going to use my CRM in command? What smart plan would I put everybody on? What will the follow-up look like? How many calls will I make the first day? What text messages will I send? What emails will I send? Till you have that plan in place, don't start spending that money. Because then you're going to get overwhelmed with the leads and you're never going to even get that set up and you're going to lose so much on the back end on that follow-up. Very rarely have I only have one client that the first contact I had with him was literally, let's go look at a house. Showed up 2 hours late. Spoke very little English. It was a snow day. This was about 7 years ago. I was over off of Ohio Drive. I shouldn't have stayed for the 2 hours. Like, that was insane, but I was like, whatever. He kept texting me, I'm 5 minutes away, I'm 5 minutes away, I'm 5 minutes away. Finally, at 7 o'clock, he finally shows up. I'm pissed. You could probably just see the steam coming out of my head. At that point, I kind of wanted to stay to just be like, you know what, screw you, you disrespectful son of a bitch. Before I could do that, he walks quickly through the house and just goes, write a full price offer. Steam quickly evaporated. Yes, sir, how quickly I'll get that right over to you. He's turned into one of my best referral clients ever. He has given me so many deals from his friends and family, of which none of them speak English. They're all from China. every lender involved in it, every title company we've closed out, the inspectors, all, like I go to the inspection and I just stand there. I'm like, hope everything's good, like, but they feel like I gave them amazing service and he's referred me to a ton of people. Maybe it's because I waited 2 hours for him when he was 2 hours late. I don't know. We really haven't even had that much, like, I don't know a ton about him other than, you know, we go out to dinner, he speaks very little English, I speak zero Chinese. So they're very, very quiet conversations, but he seems to really like me and has referred me a ton of business. So it's been an awesome opportunity. That's the only time I've ever on the first call had somebody that turned into a buyer that quickly. More than likely, it's going to take 5, 6, 7, 8. They'll tell you, a salesperson will tell you it typically takes 7 no's to get to a yes. Most of us quit after the first or second no. And so it's knowing you better have that follow-up plan. Same thing if you're going to purchase for sale, anything you're going to spend money on, make sure you've got the plan in place before you start writing the checks. You're going to do for sale by owners. Are you going to call them or are you going to visit them in person? You're going to call them. What plan do you have for after you get off the phone with them? What if they don't answer? How many times will you call them? What items of value might you provide? If you're going to go out and door knock them, what would you bring with you? It takes an average of 8 weeks for a for sale by owner to decide to list a home. So shouldn't I probably at least have an 8-week follow-up plan? Theoretically, I'm coming from contribution. So we've built a plan where for 8 weeks, you can go door knocking for sale by owner, provide things like 10 helpful tips to stage your home, 10 tips to take better photos, 10 tips to price your home better. We will also provide items like a blank copy of the seller's disclosure. One of my favorite ones to drop off is a blank copy of the T47 affidavit. T47 affidavit is just a one-page sheet that it gets attached with your existing survey. It just says I've made no changes to the survey. However, what does it say? T47 affidavit, that sounds, I don't know, just like complicated. They have to get it notarized. So my goal is to provide them something of value while at the same time starting to put in the back of their mind with those FSBOs that, you know what, there's a lot more to this than just coming up with a price. And so I'm providing value coming from contribution, but it needs to run for that 8 weeks, that every week I'm checking in with them. So before we start writing checks and purchasing things, let's look at what options are available for free 99. And if I can't find enough options at free 99, and I feel like I do need to purchase some leads, and look, a lot of the best teams to get the volume they want to get, that's the route they have to go. But you got to have that plan. Don't start paying until I know how I want to at least start following up what that plan's going to look like. Same thing with third-party companies. Investors, boy, we can all thank HGTV. Because everybody I know now is a house flipper. I thank them and I also hate them because everyone I know is now a house flipper and a lot of them have no business doing it. Most investors, unless they really know what the hell they're doing with the house, they will lose their ass on the first one. Because they're going to hire a contractor, they're going to be idiots, they're going to pay the contractor up front. Oh my God, never pay a contractor up front. I can promise you what's going to happen. You will not see that person again. They got their check, they are good. And so I have very stern conversations with my clients that want to get into investing and making sure they understand some of the pitfalls of it, but it absolutely is a good opportunity if they understand what they're getting into and what the financial risk involved in it is. You have investors that are what we call a hold investor. In other words, I purchase the property, I maybe fix it up a little and turn it into a rental property and I hold on to it for a while. We have flip investors that are looking to purchase a home, turn it around in a quick amount of time, fix it up and sell it for a profit. You have wholesale investors, a little risky, they're not my favorite. You have commercial investors, you have folks that are looking for multifamily. You can pick up a multifamily investor, man, they'll purchase multi-million-dollar properties. So huge opportunity with investors. Today, the group coaching class is on a first-time homebuyer seminar, but you could also kind of pivot that into an investment seminar. It's a buzz thing right now. Tons of people wanting to get into investing. We all watch Chip and Joanna and think we can all just flip homes and it's just easy peasy. They do it in a 30-minute episode, right? Wait, to show you the 15 years of him learning that craft and her learning that craft, That's the problem with these shows. You know, I think some agents get into this because we watch those shows and we see these agents on the Love It or Listed or whatever, and in 30 minutes they're negotiating $1 million. It ain't like that in the real world. It's probably like how nurses feel when they like watch ER and they're like, that's not really kind of how it looks cool on TV, and you get to like hang out with George Clooney, so that's fun. For those of younger ones, ER used to be a show on that came on after Friends and Seinfeld on Thursdays on NBC. But it is, I think HGTV really has pushed that investor. It's become a big thing. But it's a great source of income. My parents just bought an investment property down on the beach in Florida. I'm kind of excited about that. Somebody's gonna have to go down there every now and then to check on it. So I had to go set up the cable and internet for them. I was willing to take that one for the team. I'm a good son like that, really am. But there are really good opportunities. And so investors can be a huge part of your business. I know some agents, that's the majority of their business. Ronnie Reyes here at the Market Center really has built his business off of 2 or 3 investors that do a lot of flip homes. He's one of the agents, if you're looking to do open houses, they tend to have a few open houses available. Sometimes they're a little overpriced because that's what investors do. They try to build that profit margin in. Sometimes they get a little crazy with it. But really good opportunities working with investors. Like I said, if I go out and I buy a bunch of Bitcoin or I buy a bunch of stock, I can't sleep in it. However, if my investment home, I can actually sleep under it. So even if it loses money, at least I have a place to sleep. So good opportunities there. Door-to-door canvassing. So obviously with the pandemic, that's less popular. These days, I think somebody had asked, are we seeing it push more towards online? Certainly we are seeing, online's becoming a much bigger player, but man, a lot of good agents still go out and door knock. Obviously with everything going on right now, that's up for you to make that decision. I know some agents that were door knocking are now going to kind of what we're calling door dropping, where they're not knocking on the door, but they're leaving the flyer. So if I was going to farm a neighborhood as a new agent and costs are a concern, I may not have the money to mail out the postcards. So maybe I just pass them out. Do not put them in the mailbox. That's felony. Don't go slide your stuff in there because it's going to have your name on it. So it's going to be pretty easy to figure out who it came from. But you can walk up. I like to leave it if they have a doormat sitting like this. I'll leave it like kind of out at an angle so they can see it. Knowing that I designed the postcard to kind of have some sort of fun message right up there. One of my favorite ones is anytime I have a buyer that wants to be in a certain neighborhood, we do a wanted postcard. So I get the old West strip, like in the cowboy days, that says wanted. Then on the back, I'll have like a little black and white like photo of like an old cowboy and then a description of the family and what they're looking for. We haven't found a home in your neighborhood. Who do you know that's looking to sell? Got a lot of feedback and good results with that one. I do know other agents that will slide it into the door. I hate doing that because then when they open their door, it like flutters to the ground. So I just go ahead and put it on the ground and make them bend down and get it. Other option is door hangers. So you may have noticed when we were in designs on the command side, they have actually door hangers, the more long and narrow, a little slot up front that you can hang it on the door. You could also just staple a rubber band on there and wrap the rubber band around it. Many different ways to do it. Door knocking, I think it's really great if you're farming a neighborhood, because I think it's important to get to know the neighbors. And I would like to, at the end of 2 years, have met every single neighbor in the neighborhood. So our plan for when we farm a neighborhood is mail 3 times a quarter, door knock once. So every 4 months, we door knock. Typically, we do that with the charity one. I find that's a much more fun one to get to kind of talk to people about, something I'm passionate about. Typically, we pick charities that we actually care about. So that's a really good opportunity for us to get to go out, meet the neighbors, come from contribution, try to get back to the communities that we want to be a part of. You can door knock open houses. So I talked about our team, we have a rule, we do 10 to the left, 10 to the right, 20 across the street, or some combination that gets us 40 to 50 houses. We like to do, if I'm doing an open house from 1 to 3, we will actually schedule it from 12 to 3, do a neighbors only preview. So knock, knock. Hey, Hunter Webb and Keller Williams, how are you doing today? Great. Don't know if you saw, we just picked up a new listing in your neighborhood over off of Maple Leaf Drive. Really excited about it. Just put it on the market this week. We've got it listed at $550,000. We just wanted to let you know, you may see a little bit of increased traffic in the neighborhood on Saturday and Sunday. We're actually going to be holding the home open every day from 1 to 3. But on Saturday, we are actually doing a neighbors only preview. So if you've got any friends or family that have always wanted to live in the neighborhood, we'd love you to bring them by. Then at the same time, we're going to be offering complimentary comparative market analysis where we can help you determine what your home would be worth in today's really hot market here in Littletree. Would love to see you there. Here's a little flyer on the house. Knowing, I talked about it the other day, knowing that when that sign goes in the yard, somebody paid attention and is pulling it up on Zillow and thinking, well, maybe now is the right time for us to get our home on the market. I want to be that agent that shows up. Nothing makes me happier when I do that. I end up getting a listing and then I see some agent's calendar on the fridge. I'm like, I just stole your client. You've been paying to market to him for 2, 3, 4 years. And I just showed up because I had an open house in the neighborhood in one day and caught your client in a weak moment. Sucks for you. Don't let it happen to you. Don't have your calendar on somebody's fridge that's got another sign in the yard. Make sure you're staying in touch with your clients. One of the things you may want to do is if you see one of your preferred clients, especially that top 20, is kind of check on their neighborhood quite a bit. And if you see a new sale sign go up, call them and let them know. Hey, Stacy, I just saw that the home over there off of Maple Leaf Drive, right down the street from you, it went on the market. Looks like they're asking $550. Boy, that would be a really awesome comp if we could get that for your neighborhood. I'll keep you updated when it sells. So that is an opportunity. Door-to-door canvassing. Client parties. Huge opportunity. You know, you could do it for the neighborhood, the bounce house, the spring picnic. But we see a lot of agents that will have a party for their preferred clients, that top 20% or even their A's and their B's. Seeing folks rent movie theaters, apparently you can get a pretty good discount on them right now. They're kind of empty. Bowling alley, Frisco Rough Riders game, Dallas Stars game, Texas Rangers game, stuff like that. Fun way to get your people together. Nice thing about that is it gives you multiple reasons to be reaching out to them. You send them an invitation, an e-invite, call them a month before the party, call them the week of the party, call them and write them a handwritten letter thanking them to come from the party. Really good opportunities to connect with folks. Let them know, man, and I'll see if I can find the material. There was a whole class we did on just an agent that built their whole business was built on client events like that. Flip it around. So what do a lot of people do when they move into a house? If we could actually have friends. What if you threw it? Hey, Stacy, really, it was so fun getting to work with you and your young kids on finding a home. What I'd love to do is once you guys get settled, is I'd love to help throw a housewarming party for you. I'll supply a couple kegs of beer. I'll bring my smoker over. We'll get some good barbecue. You just need to get me a list of 50 people you want to invite. I'll even get the invitations for you. What did I just do? I just got 50 new people to add to my database. Plus, what do you think she's going to do at the day of the party? Walk around and introduce me to everybody. Oh my God, this is my agent, Hunter. He's A, he threw the party, brought us 2 kegs and all this amazing barbecue. And B, he got me this amazing house. That's a great way to build your database. So instead of a closing gift, you throw them a party that you're the head of, that you coordinate. Well, it takes a couple of kegs of beer. That's a couple, $50 a keg. Get some Shiner and good to go. Throw some barbecue on the grill or order catering. You're good to go. And now you're getting to meet all of her friends. Because typically when I have nice clients, those are the ones I ask for referrals the most from. Because truly, I assume that if she was really fun to work with, most of the people she's friends with are going to be fun to work with. And so I even tell them, I'm like, hey, so it was really awesome to work with you. I've had nightmare clients in my life, and I'm going to tell you, you've been awesome. Like, it's fun getting to work with you. So, like, if you've got any friends or family that are like you, I would love to work with them. Now, if you got asshole friends and family, please don't send them my way. But I do know this guy, Kevin, at my office. He loves assholes. So you should send in those folks. But, I mean, seriously, I'll be authentic with them. Like, you were fun to work with. I like working with people like you. Do you have other friends like you? Because it makes my life so much more fun. So the throwing the housewarming party could be could be your deal. That could be your niche. That one thing is really what you specialize. And so that's finding these niches that's outside the box. I know an agent who his whole like niche is, and it started with a margarita machine. He bought a margarita machine and he let every one of his clients know, hey, if you're having a party, I got the margarita machine. Just call me. My office will let you come in, pick it up on Friday. Just bring it back to us on Monday. We'll have all the supplies. You can purchase them from us. No, you don't have to pay for the machine. Just need to buy the tequila, and you guys can come borrow it anytime you need it. He has since added multiple margarita machines, bounce houses, huge smoker. Trying to convince my girlfriend that's why I need to get the $10,000 smoker from Rat Cat. The $700 one's great. We can only make 3 briskets at a time for the 2 of us. 30 pounds of meat, not nearly enough, babe. We need to be able to make 100 briskets at the same time. So far, I'm not getting any takers on that, but he owns a moving truck. So he's got all sorts of toys that you can rent from him. I think he may have even gotten like a jet ski in the last year. That you're gonna need to get insurance riders on all that stuff. There's a proper way to do it, especially the truck that's driving around. But every weekend, his truck is driving around the city with his sign on the side. Hey, Chris Oleg just helped a new client and we got this moving truck for it. And so it's advertising him plus word of mouth from those clients. Oh my God, you got to use Chris. He'll bring a margarita machine over to your house and give you a moving truck. Kind of weird, but he's awesome. So it's starting to sound a little outside the box. I mean, it's not what you guys, when you were thinking of lead generation, was that's the stuff you were thinking of? That can be fun, right? Getting to go over and like hang out and have a keg party with you and your 3 and your 5-year-old. I'm sure they drink a lot of beer.
A lot.
Little me probably had a few sips of mom and dad's Miller Lights. Probably why I don't drink much today. Let your kids have that sip of beer when they're young. I was like, I like soda more. Now this is my horrible vice, but we each have a few. So client parties, networking events. You can join the City Chamber of Commerce. You'll find out that most Chamber of Commerces are made up of like 80% real estate agents. You can join professional networking groups. I've been invited to quite a few of them. You pay to be a member. The good ones will only have one person from each profession. I don't want to be, that's why the Chamber of Commerce, I don't want to be in a group of like 32 other real estate agents, if I can help it. Portland had a really great small business network that I was a part of, that a real estate agent started. Guess what? By starting it, she was able to control how many real estate agents were in it. So she didn't mind it. She had 35 mortgage bankers, but ain't no other agents were getting into it. I got in because I was good friends with her and I was on it, the coaching and professional side. So I was not trying to steal clients from her. But it was cool to get to be a part of. For me, my network is my sports. So I play men's fast pitch baseball. A bunch of old dudes who like to dress up like we're still young and cool. It's really bad baseball, but it's really fun. I play co-ed softball. I play in a tennis league. I play kickball. I play dodgeball. That for me is my networking though. I'm not the biggest drinker. I don't necessarily love going out to bars, but boy, I'm there after every game. Typically I have my 1 beer and I just nurse it super slowly and get to know all the people. The cool thing, like my kickball league, not only does our team go to the bar, the whole league goes to the bar. They actually like coordinate. We play flip cup and like there's different games you play every week. So you get to know the other teams outside of just playing them. It's kickball. It's not that competitive. Although I did play on a team that we went to Vegas for like a national championship tournament. And it was the most competitive thing I've ever seen, like for kickball, a recess game that dudes like are screaming at each other. So it's pretty intense, but I tend to do them for fun. But that's my networking. Do you like going on hikes? Join a hiking group. Are you a motorcycle guy? Are you a car guy? I had an agent up in Oregon. His whole niche is he only works with car guys. Well, what do you think the average income of a dude who like buys cars for fun is? Or a chick that buys cars for fun? They make pretty good money. The houses that these folks would buy tended to have 6 to like 12 car garages. I've never seen a house under $1 million that had a 6-car garage. You were going to be spending some money. So he would go like up in classic BMW. I think they've cut it back over the pandemic. They used to have that coffees and cars. There's all sorts of online networking groups right now. If it's not there, create it. Now, one of my agents that I asked her what she was passionate about, kind of shocked me when she told me the answer, cigars. And so she has actually created a DFW cigar aficionado group on Facebook. And they have started doing, right up until the pandemic, they were doing meetups that she was in charge of. So every member she had to approve, she becomes friends with them. She has all their contact information. They share something in common. She organizes all the events. So she's not only getting to meet the people on her Facebook page, but she's getting to meet the people that she's setting up these events with. So that can be huge. Social functions and community events. You know, your religious churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, religious affiliation. They tend to like to do business within those communities. So those of you that are religious, tap into it. That was one, you know, I've had to make it come back and say, you know, that there were some things in my life that I did not want to be business related. I used to umpire baseball. I did it at the collegiate and high school level, but then in the summers for fun, I would do it at the Little League level. My dad actually was the president of Little League after both his kids went through it. He just has always had a passion for Little League baseball and helping youth sports. And so I kind of rubbed off on me. So I enjoyed umpiring. That was the way my mom used to tell me, because these parents, she would come out and watch some of the games every now and then, and these parents would come up. I'm pretty good. I'm the fun uncle. I don't know how I'd be as a dad, but I could be a fun uncle. And so these parents would come up after the game and thank me. Oh my gosh, in 5 seasons of doing this, this is the most fun I've ever like seen an umpire have and like make the game fun. My mom would go, you need to hit on your business card. That was like weirdly where I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. This is something I do. This is something that's separate from business for me. It's something that just, it would feel grimy to me. I don't know why, but that just didn't feel like it was the right time to be also advertising my business. Probably silly on my behalf. They probably would have turned into great clients. However, I just didn't want to mix those two. Religion maybe where some people say, you know what, I am not comfortable like marketing myself at my religious place. That's totally a personal decision. I know other agents, every time they go to church, they have their name tag on. So one of our agents, she plays the organ in the, she had a Keller Williams branded mask on the other day in church. I love it. So if people want to help, that's the kind of communities that want to help. Social functions, you know, that I call it networking, my sports. You could also say it's social functions, but it's joining meetup groups. There's an app called Meetup where literally you type in what it is you enjoy doing. Right now, a lot of it's online. But once we get back to, you know, in-person stuff, knock on fake wood sooner rather than later, that will be something that's huge. Find the things you're interested in. That's when I say, let's figure out when I coach with agents, I want to know what you want to do. What do you enjoy doing? And how can we build a business doing that? If you're a car guy or car girl, and we can literally find you enough networking opportunities with other car people, would that not be more fun than like cold calling for sale by owners, which you may not be passionate about? I would think so. My first business card when I became a coach is this little black one right here, make real estate fun. What if we could make this fun? Like I think a lot of us say, well, it's a job. You're not allowed to have fun at a job. Hell no. You just wake up every day loving it. It's an opportunity to do something cool. Get to be a part of people's biggest decisions in their lives while also getting to do some fun stuff. So think about the things you enjoy doing. Seminars. So that's what we talked about. Investor seminars, first-time homebuyer seminars, retirement seminars. Maybe you, a probate attorney, assisted living care, you guys put something together. Helping those folks. That's a huge underserved part of the community. There are a lot of crappy people that like to take advantage of people. What if you became the asset for that community? Cheryl Webb, one of our top agents, not related. She works mostly the 55 and up communities, those Del Webb kind of senior citizen communities. That's a huge part of her deal. You can host seminars there. Talk investment seminars, first-time homebuyer seminars, all sorts of different ways to bring education to folks. Booths at events. We're gonna take a break at 10:50 to 11. So we're gonna get through the lead generation, then we're gonna come back for the last 30 minutes and do marketing. Just to let you guys know. And we're getting out at 11:30 so we can get into orientation for those of you that need to do that. Boosted events, teaching and speaking opportunities. So boosted events, wedding, bridezilla events. I don't know why I'm single. It's blown my mind. But no, awesome opportunity. What do a lot of married couples like to do within their first or second year of marriage? Buy that first house together. Here's what's cool is a lot of people are kind of like me that are getting married a little later in life. So I've worked with a lot of clients that have met in their 30s, gotten married. Well, guess what? Both of them owned a house. I get 2 listings in 1 purchase. That's always fun. It's a lot more fun working with the weddings than the divorces. So I've done the divorces. We had the wife I was representing showed up for the closing. The husband decided to bring in the 2 kids with him and the 25-year-old new girlfriend. We had the cops show up. That was the last time I will allow that scheduling to happen. So anytime I work with divorced couples now, we find out when the other party will be coming in to sign, and we make sure we're about 4 to 5 hours apart, just for my safety. Boosted events. Maybe you are a car guy. You go to a car event. I know agents that host events at like the, what are those things called? Street markets. County fairs. The opportunity to get in front of large groups of people. I know it mentions kiosks in high traffic area there at the last one. And a little less common now as shopping malls are dying, but I knew agents back in the day who that was their business, was they had a kiosk in the mall. A buddy of mine, literally, he spent 2 weeks at the mall. He would sit outside of every exit and he had a little clicker and he counted. And he figured out which exit was the most popular, what times were the most popular, and so he shared it with another agent, and he always had the good slots. That was his whole business, was hanging out at the mall all day, getting people to talk to him about real estate. So there's that outside the box. It wouldn't be my style, it was his style. Teaching and speaking opportunities. Kind of tie that in with the seminars, go into some of these corporate, so you can see how some of these, seminars, teaching and speaking operations can tie into corporations, because we can go get those same seminars at the corporations. So there's all sorts of opportunities to get out and get in front of, opportunities to get in front of groups of people, talk to them about what hopefully you're becoming passionate about in helping people achieve their goals through real estate. It's pretty cool to watch people's lives change when you can help them make those kind of decisions. To help that first-time home buyer, to help that couple find their dream home, to help those folks get out of the home so they can get into that assisted living facility they need to. All sorts of crazy. I've done the divorces, and as much as it sucks, at the same time, it's gonna happen. They need to get on with their lives, and this home they've decided for financial reasons it needs to be sold. Great, then let's make sure they're given the best quality service they can, and I think I can provide that. So there's huge opportunities out there. So we'll take a break here in 2 minutes. What ahas do you have? Let's start online since I can hear you guys today. Give me some ahas. Now that I give you guys the opportunity, nobody's got anything?
I'll say something. Can y'all hear me? I'm driving.
We can. Be safe.
Safe. Maybe. So my aha would be before paying for something, make sure there's a plan in place.
Absolutely. That's huge. We don't want to see you don't want to be spending money for the first 3 months while you're trying to learn the system. Here's the thing, if you're paying for something or thinking about it, put out on KW Central Solutions. Hey, I'm thinking about spending money with this company. Who has experience? Take an agent that has paid for leads from that company out. Find out what do they think of the quality of the leads. What were they successful with? Why are they not still doing it? Why are they still doing it? Learn from it. I might ask the company I was about to pay for, can you send me a list of 4 to 5 agents I could contact across the country? If they're not willing to do that, maybe a little more hesitant to write a check to them. I want to hear from people that have used it. Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. Sean, anybody else online got one they want to share?
I have one.
What you got, Miss Kathy?
Can you hear me?
I can.
I wrote a couple things down. I'm a real animal lover, and I just absolutely love the idea of the dog tag or I have a cat. I have a cat and a dog with the new address on them. They always wear their address.
Yep.
So I think that's brilliant. That's something I'm definitely going to do. And I have a good relationship with a local bank that's out of Oklahoma that I bank at here in McKinney. And so I'm definitely going to go check in with them because I know they do have mortgage. They provide mortgages. So that is something I really liked. And then also I have a probate attorney. I just went through probate for my dad. So I have a good relationship with her. I'm going to go deal with that as well. So thank you.
A good attorney can provide you so much business. Luckily, when I was 18, I required the services of an attorney. I paid him quite a lot of money. He's paid me back. He sent me quite a few clients from different things. I think the weirdest one he sent me was one I showed up and the lady had carpet cut out in front of her bed and was like, "So do you want to know why the carpet's gone?" I was like, "Maybe." Her husband had decided to end his life like right there at the foot of her bed at 2 a.m. She had gotten arrested for it. They had to do the ballistics and like prove that the gunpowder, like, yeah. But horribly tragic situation. I'm still in touch with her today. She lives in Alabama. She's the sweetest lady. She calls me about once a month and just, I love her to death. She's so nice and just what she went through. So it was a horribly tragic situation, but it was refreshing to know, A, that the attorney felt like I would be able to handle and help her situation. She needed to get out of that house that day. Like we had her stuff packed and she was moved within about 48 hours of getting out of jail. But then she needed to know she had somebody that could get that house sold for her. So really cool opportunity. So thank you guys for sharing. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We will get rocking and rolling at 11:02. We will start knocking out some of this marketing stuff. Sound groovy? Rock and roll, y'all.
Got it all, Kevin. Oh. More coffee. Absolutely. Oh, I spoke too soon about the 60AR. I never got the call back. No, so I'm still waiting. Didn't get an email this morning either, so I'm like, I'm not sure what.
John, I need a new
I think she's good. I think
agent.
she's good. She's not all the work. She's not all the work.
Thank you.
That was a long one. Absolutely. Know the feeling.
You know, these bags are treacherous. Just don't trust them. I'm afraid if I set this down, neither.
They'll slide it all.
Yeah, they go. I set them down next to my desk before I came over here. I went, and they were, I kid you not, a 5-foot space. I like in a disaster zone, and all I did was this, and I was like, fuck. I was like, that's not possible. Oh, how is class going? Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, we got marketing for the next 30 minutes before the orientation starts.
All right.
Just got through the prospecting.
Yeah, that's kind of my life. I'm one of y'all's vendors. So I do, we do the credit repair for y'all, for your vendors for credit repair for your clients. So, I step out and make sure it's okay. I'm in here. Hello, sir. Good morning. I am fantastic.
Wonderful. That's what it should be.
And you know, you gotta wake up every morning and decide it's gonna be a great day because there ain't nothing else, there ain't another reason for it.
You got it right.
Yeah.
You got it. Someone's alive.
My grandmother told me that when I was a kid.
I didn't want to at a senior high school.
You know, and no matter how bad your past is, no matter what you've done, what happened from today,
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow.
And I was like, when you walked around, it's like, that's exactly, that's so much right.
My name's Jesse. What's yours?
Ray to tell.
Ray, nice to meet you.
Nice to know you. How people.
Doppelganger.
Yeah.
I will be, I should be arriving for you.
I was much younger. I had to meet somebody.
I'm with them as I solution. Handed out bags, got my stuff.
Then they show me.
We are the preferred partner for.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, so.
Andy had the same one.
A client that's got a problem with it.
It's like a long lost
Credit
brother.
issue.
That's actually what I think. I never saw the guy, but.
Contact us, usually
I kind
3
of
to
find
6
out
months,
that,
and we'll have them back to you. As long as they follow the process.
That's crazy.
Almost, 100 years ago.
So can I ask what your PhD is?
Never know.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes,
That is so cool.
it's been 43 years of this.
Oh, did you really?
I got out. My wife passed away and my new wife, her husband passed away. They were big in the school system. He was a principal of one of the high schools.
Mhm.
And it's been about 10, 11 years. We met about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. 2 years later, we got married.
And there you
She's
go.
been here for 10 years. She's the reason
That's awesome.
So we're gonna get together, form a team and see where we go.
There you go. That sounds exciting.
Really is.
I went to school for biorobotics
Yeah, sure.
and spent my first, it was very exciting, other than I don't like little white rooms. They put me in a little white room and they put you in this coat, they put you in a mask, you got a thing attached to your wrist that you connect to everything before you touch anything. And I felt a little like a prisoner.
Oh, not good.
I think I need to step up, so it's time to go with.
Thank you.
Hey, Hunter.
Yes.
I have a few specific questions. Will there be like a class over construction, like new construction, or builders, or first-time home, or for sale by owner classes?
There's not in Ignite, there's not necessarily a specific class. I do know we were planning out some of the education for the year, and I do know we will be doing some new home construction classes. I'm working with builders. I do not know about for sale by owner. One way, if you're looking for information on any of those, so say it was like for sale by owners, is go to KW Connect. Come in, for example, FSBO. I like video. Go to videos. So right here, there's 7 steps, taking 10 listings per month, getting leads. When a FSBO, handling objections, FSBOs and expireds. So quite a few little things on there. So in terms of what the office will bring, like I said, I don't know that we have any specific classes planned. Highly recommend this first one. Emily Peckham will sell 100 homes in her second year. So this was the young lady in bold who is in her second year in real estate, moved to Nashville, only knew 3 or 4 people, is on pace to do over 100 homes, or she did over 100 homes in 2020, 85 of which were for sale by owners. So there's good education. Sometimes it's going to be found on KW Connect. Obviously, we'll have some of it here at the Market Center.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Cool. We'll get rocking and rolling. I will actually end us a little early, probably at about 11:20, 11:25, so that you guys can get a little 5-second break for those of you who are going to orientation. Who in here is going to the orientation? Rock and roll. Cool. So we're getting into marketing. So we just talked about prospecting, which was more of the free 99. Now, certainly there's some stuff in there. You can spend some money. Obviously, creating marketing materials is not free. But there's no cost involved in going and meeting with the mortgage specialist at your bank. There's no cost in going and getting to know new home buyers, new home sales professionals. The very least, even if you didn't pick up business while going to meet new home builders, you're getting to learn more about product and what homes are available, what makes their construction unique compared to another builder. the more you understand that world, the better you're able to kind of sell it with your clients. So it never hurts to have that knowledge in the back of your head. But now we're going to kind of focus more on marketing in terms of some of the stuff you can pay for. So advertising, all different ways to advertise. Number one, it lists newspapers. I'm not going to spend much time on that. It's kind of a dying breed. I don't know a single agent that's currently marketing through the newspaper. I think that's a little outdated. Personal vehicles. If you guys seen some of the wraps that agents will do, they'll literally get their whole vehicle like wrapped with like kind of a giant sticker that markets themselves as a real estate agent. They'll have their branding on it. A lot of them will have their picture. The way I drive, I prefer people not to be able to immediately contact me. So if you are going to get branding, drive smart. Nothing worse than like anybody had that situation where like you maybe like honk at somebody on your way to work one day. Maybe you tell them they're number one, and then you notice they keep like going the same direction, and then they pull into the parking lot, and you realize that you both work at the same place, and now we have to like face each other as humans. And it's amazing when you step outside of these giant 2,000-pound metal boxes, all of a sudden maybe we're not so tough. Am I the only one that thinks I'm a badass behind the wheel, and then some days realizes, no, I am not. So that's stuff to keep in mind. If you do create like with any advertising, even if it was my personal vehicle, I need to have that call to action. Something that gives them a reason to reach out. On any piece of marketing, you need to have that call to action. So in my car, it could even be as simple as follow me or call me to see homes. On a postcard that I'm sending to the farm, call me to find out what your home is worth, or go to www.huntersellsplano.com to find out what your home is worth. But I need to give them a reason to reach out, because marketing is kind of a one-way conversation. We're not actually like typically on the phone communicating. It's me trying to send a message out. It's great, provide awesome information, but give them a reason to pick up the phone or to go onto your website or to send you a text or an email, so that you can then turn that into an actual lead and have a conversation. Magazines, in terms of paying for ads, I don't know many agents that are doing that. You will probably, hopefully you will all have the opportunity to pay D Magazine at some point, because they're going to call you and say, hey, congratulations, you're one of the best realtors in Texas. We'd like to put you in our best of magazine. You certainly have to qualify for it, and it is nice. What they will do is when they do those lists, they do it with doctors, they'll do it with lawyers, they do it with real estate, is they will list everyone that qualified, but they will list you in a list with everybody else like that small. Or for $500, you can buy a quarter page ad. For $1,000, you can buy a half page. For $2,500, you can buy the full page. So they can certainly, it's sales for them. I don't think you get a ton out of it. You know, I see agents that will advertise every year, best of, with the D Magazine logo. That's nice. Consumers see it. They recognize here in Dallas, D Magazine. It's fairly well known. I do know an agent, Sharon Ketko, over at the Plano office. Her whole marketing is a magazine. So she has a database, I think it's like 25,000 people these days. She started off with just the Lakeside of Preston neighborhood. Then as her business would grow, she would expand, pick a different neighborhood, then a third neighborhood, and a fourth. It's up to a database of 25,000 people, and she sends out a magazine with all her listings every month. So that's kind of a unique, it's not cheap. I think she's spending close to like 20 grand a month. But if you're making 100 grand a month, 5-to-1 ROI, not horrible. One magazine I know that I have agents, especially out in California, that use to market their listings, it wasn't very effective, but boy, people seem to like it. The Rob Report, one of them fancy rich people magazines, you're able to market through them. You can buy actually exclusive marketing. So there's opportunity there. Bus stops and benches, you don't see that often here in the Texas area. West Coast, California, pretty popular. You know, if you were farming an area that had, you know, popular bus stops, might be a thing you do. We still see that a lot here in North Texas. So it's not a huge thing. Signs, directional signs. So a lot of us if you're doing open houses and you need open house signs, I have the generic ones that you can literally go to Home Depot and buy. They just say open house with a directional. You can buy Keller Williams branded ones. You can go to CCAR and buy generic ones. Or you may choose at some point, one of the cool things about being a Keller Williams is you can create your own brand. It's not uncommon for me to be driving down the street, see a sign in a yard and go, "Ooh, what brokerage is this?" And then realize it's a Keller Williams agent that just has created their own brand. You can have your own color scheme. But just because we're red, white, and black, you may choose to go, and the popular color I see these days is like a teal, lighter blue seems to be real popular, with like white. Seems to be a pretty clean, classy look. I've seen a lot of that. But you are able to create your own logo. Those of you who are interested in a logo, the website I use is Fiverr, FIVERR.com. Basically, Fiverr is an online independent contractor resource. Originally started off where anything on here you could get for $5 freelance, that's the word. But come in and type in logo, and you'll see all these graphic artists that will create logos starting at, you know, anywhere from 25, 20 bucks. And then they'll have full packages that start getting a little expensive. So what we did to create a logo for our team is we actually contracted out, I think 5 of these designers and paid for their cheapest package, had them do a mock-up, and then we picked the one that we liked the most, and we went all the way and paid the full package where we get all the files, the vector files, the RGB file, all of it. That's a way to get it done. There's also a company called Logo Tournament that basically it does that for you. You type in kind of what you're looking for, a logo, and then it will send it out to 50 freelance artists. Within about 2 days, they turn around and all submit. And then you kind of pairs them up like a March Madness style tournament. You can vote on which ones you like. It's kind of fun because you can share that with your social media and be like, "Hey, which one do you guys like? A, B, C, or D?" I've done stuff like that. Now I know which one I'm going to pick. I don't care what the public votes for. I'm right, they're wrong, but I like them to pretend they have a say in it. I see agents do that with their headshots. Which one do I look better in? Once again, I kind of know which one I'm going with, but it's fun to get the public's opinion. So that's an opportunity. And so they'll create their directional signs will all have that logo. So every open house they do. So if I was farming a neighborhood, that would be something I would want to consider, is having my own look, feel, so that every postcard I send out has got a similar look and feel to it, that my signs have, that I'm running an online ad will all have that branding to it so that they start to really notice it and know me as the neighborhood specialist. Name badges, logos, and shirts. I don't have my name badge on today. I think it's in my backpack. This was 2 or 3 years ago, sat down and actually wrote it out. I've generated over $200,000 in commission just off my name badge. Sold a house to the greeter at my local Walmart, sold one to a 7-Eleven clerk, picked up a pharmacist at my Kroger, and ended up working with 3 different pharmacists there. The name badge is, people love talking about real estate. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you're in a rush to go somewhere, that's inevitably when they're going to want to stop you and talk to you about real estate. You're running late to your next appointment, and you're at the gas stations when the guy pumping gas across from you, "Oh, you're in real estate? Man, I'm thinking about selling my house. What's the market like right now?" And so just know that it's going to attract conversation. I know agents that wear it upside down on purpose, so that when they're walking, somebody will go, "Oh, hey man, your name tag." So, oh my God, so sorry. Flip it around and gets people to start talking about real estate. You know, I know one of the rookies of the year we had bring in, she was even when she was brand new, she had no business. She had a daughter that was doing gymnastics and another one that was doing dance. And she said that she would go to every practice. She would always have her name tag on. She would always purposely sit next to a different mom, always go, hey, how's your day going? They would say, and then they'd go, how was your day? She goes, no matter what, I had probably been sitting at home just waiting to go to practice for the last 3 hours, but I gave him the same answer every time. Oh my gosh, I didn't think I was gonna get to make it to come watch practice today. I was out showing a house in downtown Dallas and traffic was a nightmare getting back here. Subtly remind, oh my God, I did not know you were in real estate. Yeah, I just got into it about 3 months ago. I've got a buyer that's looking for condos in the downtown area. So yeah, traffic was just a nightmare getting up here, but glad I got to make it to practice. Oh, well, so what's the market like now? And just go right into that conversation. And she always had her little name tag on. I sometimes accidentally wear it when I like go to happy hour like non-real estate people. I'm like, oh my God, oh, I forgot to take that off after I was showing a house. My bad. After they've all noticed it. So it's a way to create that conversation. Billboards, we don't see them a ton. Don't forget I had a new agent. It was like her second week here. She came in and she was so excited. Her husband had spent $50,000 on two-year contracts on billboards. That would be one of those things I would recommend making sure you had the plan in place before we drop 50K on. Thank you, husband. Really appreciate it. But now what the hell is the plan? And we had to create a whole business plan based around her billboard. We ended up getting the plan up and running. She's done okay with it. We didn't renew the billboard after the first 2 years. But it, you know, it had, what's the movie? I Love You, Man. I think it's got a bunch of funny real estate billboards on there. So, you know, it's an opportunity. There's, you know, I know a buddy who does a lot of advertising on the radio. Josh DeShong was a Keller Williams agent. They did a lot on the radio. One of my good buddies, who's a mortgage lender at Bank of England, and I played fantasy football with him. He advertises on The Ticket, and I'm a big P1 of The Ticket, sports radio station here in Dallas. And it's nauseating having to hear Marcus all the time. They're just the dumbest ads. So every time like the guys get together, we just kick him in the you-know-wheres from him. But then I was talking to him after our fantasy football draft back in August, and I was like, you know, it's annoying as hell hearing your idiotic ads every day. Are they worth it? He goes, oh, we get at least 2 qualified leads a day. So he's making money off of it. Enough so that he's continuing to do so and actually has upped their ad budget. Because they came to him and at the time he was only advertising on the app. Now they require you to advertise on both the terrestrial radio and the app, and he was willing to do that. He's getting enough business from it. Now obviously that takes some money to get in that ball game. I don't know if you guys have seen the story. We're not going to get into the like story part of it, but the young, the woman out of Frisco who took a private jet up to Washington last week, who's gotten in a little hot water. Dot Jenna, so she's a real estate agent. One of the gentlemen on the plane was an agent at this market center. I'll save my opinion about him for later, but she hosts a radio show on, I can't remember which station. She's not that good at radio. She pays for it. So it's a paid show for 1 hour on the weekends. That's something you could do. Ronnie Reyes, the gentleman I was talking about, that works with investors. It's built a really good business with investors. He speaks, he's from the Philippines. And so there's a Philippine internet radio station that he actually hosts a show on. I don't know if he still does it, but that's kind of how he found those original investors and really launched his career. He was just another agent for his first couple of years, got into doing that and really launched his career. We had another agent here that did the same thing on Vietnamese radio. So those of you that have maybe cultural ties that can build a niche out of that, maybe you speak a second language, there's opportunities there. Once again, it probably is going to take a little money to get to that level, but certainly something you can do. Yellow Pages, I don't think anybody is effectively doing that, hopefully in 2021. If so, I think you're wasting your money. Grocery carts, kind of silly, yeah, but if I was farming a neighborhood and there's a local grocery store, would it maybe make sense to have the same ad that looks just like my yard sign, that looks just like my directional sign, that looks just like my postcards? I could see that being worth it to kind of just keep cementing that message. So that's not insane. Moving vans. So we talked about the gentleman who bought the margarita machine. I think he owns a lot of lawn equipment too. That was a smart thing, you know, having hedge clippers, trimmers, lawn mower, stuff so that when your folks move in, you can help them get that yard cleaned up. What's nice about that is you don't have to do it. I'll just give you the equipment and let you spend the weekend weed eating, my friend. But the moving truck, that has become something I've seen quite a few agents about it. Once again, we're looking at spending a little money. That's why we spent so much time on the top. Was because those are activities that are just going to take your time, your grit, getting face to face with people. These are activities that we tend to be just kind of throwing some money at. Brochure boxes that they put out in front of their listings. We don't see those as often. Everybody's got an app on their phone. A lot of people will put either a sign writer where you can text 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to get information on this house, or scan this QR code to get information about this house. What those services will do is they will automatically send you information from whoever requested the information. So I had a sign capture that basically would send me a text that said, hey, John Smith is requesting information on 123 Main Street. John Smith is literally in front of the house right now. It's kind of nice to be able to call and say, hey, John, what about the Calvin Wood? Got your request for more information over on 3401 Lance Circle. Just want to reach out real quick, see if I can help answer any questions. You can instantaneously pop. The brochure signs tends to be some 13-year-old kid. It's going to take all your flyers out. Happens. I'll never forget one night I had just picked up a sign from one of my listings, and I was driving through, picking up some dinner, getting fast food, and I'm pulling through the drive-through. The young lady, as she's handing me my bag, she goes, oh, you steal those signs too? Hey, I clearly need to be dressing and looking a little bit more professional. If your first thought wasn't that he's a real estate agent but a thief, you're like, oh, no, you're not. I work in real estate. These are $200+. Please quit stealing them from my competitors. But if you are going to steal them, here's the list of 5 agents you may want to go with for the list. But yeah, it was just mind-blowing. Like, damn, homie. So car signs is like doing the car wrap. We'll wrap up here in 2 minutes. Broadcast, so you can pay for ads on radio. One way I did do, so I'm a big ticket fan. I couldn't afford the time to advertise on the ticket. A couple guys on the ticket, though, did a podcast. Now, they weren't getting 100,000 listeners, but they averaged about 2,500 listeners. But they were all mostly guys, mostly my age, mostly weird personalities like mine, because they listened to that show. It was a very niche audience. That was okay. I'm part of that niche audience. It made sense financially. It was much cheaper to advertise with those guys. Got to meet them, actually helped one of them purchase his home. But at the very least, it got me a client, and I actually ended up picking up a few people off that podcast. So podcast instead of radio, a little bit cheaper. Productions, voice, radio, internet, email, online, pay-per-click advertising. It's where you pay like Google every time somebody clicks on your ad. It costs you 5 cents. Make sure before you do that, you know what the hell you're doing. Had a good buddy of mine turned on pay-per-click, did not know you have to set a limit. 2 days later, he was out $4,500 because he didn't put a stop. So they just keep running your ad. Now you got a buddy you really don't like in this business, find out if they're running a pay-per-click ad and just sit there on Google all day, click, 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 click. You can kill their ad budget real fast. Don't do that. That's not nice. SEO is naturally search engine optimization. There's ways you can build it up so that your website shows up. We could do a whole class on that. You can pay to have your website shown up, or you can build it naturally. It's pretty tough to get known for Dallas real estate, if that was the term you're hoping to Google. However, could you maybe write blog articles about homes for sale in Whiffletree? Is there maybe less competition? Who do you think, if I had a buyer look for Dallas real estate or a buyer that searched homes in Whiffletree, which one do you think is closer to buying a home? Yeah. Homes in Dallas means I'm probably just starting my search. Homes in Whiffletree means I've narrowed it down to my neighborhood. So if I were gonna be found in either one, I'd want the more niche-y one. That's what we call long tail search terms, more specific. Social media, you can pay for ads. We will do a class on how to do ads through Facebook Command. We have a partnership with Facebook. Right now, agents are receiving leads for about $2 per lead. That's not too bad. Spend $100 a month on Facebook and you could get potentially 50 new internet leads. That's not that bad. Knowing that it takes about 50 leads per transaction, $100 to get me one transaction, not a bad ROI there. Portals, search portals, you can pay to advertise on Zillow. Then they're going to take that money and they're going to use it to try to put you out of business. But I still see a lot of agents that are willing to cash a short-term check to not care about the long-term history of this business. It's inevitable Zillow. I'm of the opinion at this point, Zillow will become the national MLS. They've become a brokerage here in the state of Texas. They're a broker in most states now. They've been given access to the MLS. That is a cat we cannot put back in the bag. Our consumers go there. Try telling the client you're not going to put their home on Zillow. See how it goes. Doesn't go very well. Try to explain to them, well, they're trying to literally end my career. They don't seem to care. That's where everybody goes to search for homes. So you'll learn a lot. The longer you get in this industry, the more you'll learn about those kind of companies and whether they really have your best interest in mind. My opinion, not necessarily. So we're going to hit pause. It is 11:27. I know quite a few of you have new agent orientation. Looks like they brought you guys lunch. So I will get out of the way today. You guys have any questions, ahas, anything before we call it a day? Give me somebody in the class. One idea you heard today that you hadn't thought of that you think you might implement sometime?
Thanks.
Banks? Cool. Anybody else?
I like the housewarming party.
That's just because I'm bringing 2 kegs of beer and barbecue to your house, so I will blame you. And so hopefully, and the reason why we cover so many is I know that Banks may speak to him, you may be like, I have no desire. Housewarming parties may speak to you, Katie may be like, I don't think so. These aren't all one size fits all. Well, what's cool is you are an independent contractor, you own your own business, you get to make those decisions. You get to be as wild and crazy, as fun with it as you want, or as just average and normal and boring as you want. I might go wild and crazy and have a little fun. Stand out. There are a lot of real estate agents in North Texas. You're just generic. I just help buyers and sellers buy their home, and I really enjoy doing it. There's 50 of you, like in the mile radius here. My mom plays on a team tennis. I think 9 of them are licensed agents. But she's the only one that does any production, but they all have their licenses. There's a lot of generic people out there. Stand out from the crowd. We all look at that person that stands out from the crowd and we're like, that person's awesome. Like, way to stand. Yeah, we don't do it ourselves. I don't want anybody to notice me. I just want to kind of blend into the back of the room and be a wallflower. This is a business you gotta stand out. Piss some people off, not by doing business the wrong way, but because they're envious of your success. The good real estate agents get hated on. But it ain't because they're doing business the wrong way. It's because other people are afraid to take the chances that they took, and they're envious and they're jealous of the success those agents took. Be that agent that everyone else here in Ignite looks at and goes, damn, I wish I had those kind of cojones. Be that agent that stands out from the crowd. Be the bright, colorful unicorn in a world full of gray, boring horses. It's a new metaphor I'm coming up with. I'm gonna work on crafting that a little bit better, so don't quote me on that one. Cool. Well, you guys have an awesome time in orientation. I will be around all afternoon. I'm kind of in a couple different classes teaching, but if you need anything, pop on by. Been fun so far. Hopefully see you guys all tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hey, Hunter.
You're all staying in here.
Hunter.
Hey, Hunter.
Yeah.
Hey, my name is Edwin, and I joined just recently, so today is my first day to even connect on Zoom.
Welcome to the party, my friend.
Thank you.
I Got you up.
Yeah, I was told that you could get me connected so I could see the other 2 days classes I missed.
Cool. I will get that to you. So I'll get your email and your phone number, and I will get with you late this afternoon, and then we'll get that stuff sent over to you. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Beautiful. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
You guys online have a lovely day. They will pop on the Zoom with the Zoom link from Central KW for you guys to join for orientation. Sound good? Sounds good. We're so excited.
Is that fire seminar in here today?